The 16-year-old, who can't be named because of his age, was cleared of attempted murder but convicted of wounding with intent. His two accomplices have not been caught. Barclays is expected to announce thousands of job losses this morning. It's understood the reduction could be as many as 15,000 posts, up to 70% of which could be in Britain. The RSPCA has thanked members of the public for coming forward with information after a man was given a 4-month jail sentence for cruelty to his dog in Hertfordshire. 29-year-old Barry Garside Neville, formerly of Welwyn Garden City, was also given a lifetime ban from owning dogs after repeatedly kicking his Staffordshire Bull Terrier and burning the animal with cigarettes. More from Tony Fisher.
St Albans Magistrates Court heard how the dog called Ruby would often be seen cowering away from Garside Neville. Witnesses described they'd seen him intimidate her until she wet herself. He then picked her up, threw her, kicked her and held her in the air, blowing down her nose. Garside Neville also left her bad skin condition untreated by vets.
Bedfordshire Police are relocating Ampthill Police Station to nearby Flitwick. It's part of a money-saving review of police buildings by Commissioner Ollie Martins. The new station in Flitwick will be in the Hawthorns. During a study of station use by the public, Ampthill received an average of just 4.5 visits per day. Tesco and Marks & Spencer have confirmed that they're selling halal lamb from New Zealand without saying how it has been killed. Muslim and Jewish leaders are calling for all shoppers to be told how animals have been slaughtered. A bus was destroyed by fire in central Milton Keynes yesterday afternoon. Nobody was injured in the incident close to the main bus station in Elder Gate at around 3:20. In sport, Manchester City are on the verge of regaining the Premier League title after a 4-0 win over Aston Villa. City are 2 points clear of Liverpool with 1 game to play. And cycling's Women's Tour of Britain heads for Bedford today. The second stage starts in Hinckley and is expected in Bedford at around 2 o'clock. The weather, cloud and rain spreading west across the region and lasting most of the day. A maximum temperature 15 degrees Celsius. And you can get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/3 counties.
BBC Three Counties Radio's big tour of...
How about a little murder?
We moved here when children were younger and that, and we put them through schooling here and that.
It's all about where you live.
It's a developing city, so you see it now, but, in a few years' time it could be bigger, it could be better.
And all this week we're featuring Milton Keynes.
Everything you need under one roof, yeah.
It's a nice place to have a shopping spree, have a walk around.
The big tour. BBC Three Counties Radio.
Dad pop. Where did that idea come from?
It came from my brain.
We'll be speaking to the brain behind Dad Pop in a few minutes. I'm very excited. Local legend. Busy show, boys and girls. Busy. And it's a Thursday. You know what that means. We're all a bit tired and grumpy. That's what that means. Coming up on the show, a Stevenage woman hits back at hate crime. Welling man jailed for animal cruelty. Oh, I've just seen what this says. And Silly Sausage shows us more ghostly Ev. Facebook.com/BBC3CR. You can send me a text. Look at them grappling with the TV remote so they can put Good Morning This Is Britain on. You're obsessed.
Well, I'm just like it.
We're trying to double their figures.
No, let it go. Let it go. You work on this.
What's on the telly at the moment?
What is it?
I'm telling you.
Oh, man, I wish I knew. 08459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
Yeah.
This right. BBC Three Counties Radio.
Busy day, girls and boys. Got a bag.
Oh.
Do you know what's in my bag?
No.
Well, there's a brilliant expose about Fleetwood Mac. That's for Tony Fisher.
Oh, he's going to love that.
He's going to love that. It's a brilliant book. But also, the bosses here at, as my son calls them, my boy boss and my lady boss, they have foolishly asked me to record like a special show that will go out on a bank holiday or something, like an hour of me playing my favourite music.
Right. Oh, dear. They asked for it. What have you got?
I'm playing it kind of safe. For those in the know, there is no Frank Zappa, there's no Wildman Fisher, there's no Wesley Willis. Have you heard Wesley Willis?
I've heard of Wincey Willis.
Wesley Willis is brilliant. He's a homeless American gentleman who would write songs about concerts that he'd been to.
Oh. Okay.
I went and saw Bruce Springsteen at the Yankee Stadium. There were approximately 35,000 people there. Bruce played an excellent concert. End of song. No, that's it.
That's inspired me to write some songs about going to see Genesis and Paul Simon.
What have we got in it? We got some goodies in this bag.
Right, excellent.
That boy, oh boy. I mean,
I think you should play that guy, by the way.
Wesley Willis.
Yeah, it won't take long. Slip it in.
I didn't bring Wesley with me. If I can find one that hasn't got swears in, I will.
Just introduce it and insert it later.
It's better than some of the guff that they play on a Saturday night. Can Kelly hear me?
What do you mean? Who's they?
Hey, nothing. So,
Paul Barnes.
I've got some great stuff in here.
Yeah.
I've got a bit of Japanese pop.
Oh.
I've got a little bit of French pop.
Oh.
Oh. You a fan of Joe Dassin?
I'm not familiar with Joe Dassin.
Should we have a bit of Joe Dassin?
Oui.
May we?
Weren't we going to do a thing where we played foreign versions of songs you thought you knew? We should do that.
Oh, we will do that then.
Let's do it.
I can't do it now unless he's not got anything famous. Oh, hang on. This is foreign. Hang on. This is. I won't play this one, but I don't know what this is. Hang on. We'll start the show in a minute. Don't worry, guys. I'm just excited. This is.
Joe Dassin. Oh.
This. I think this will be in foreign.
It's quite Lionel Richie, isn't it?
Cilia, ton lit est trop dur.
We'll play this.
Pourtant, il fait de beaux rêves. Oh, Cécilia, ton vin est trop doux, mais j'aime son goût sur tes lèvres. Cilia, quand on a 20 ans, on a tout le temps d'être fidèle. Oh, Cécilia, si tu ne l'es pas, je ne t'en veux pas pour autant. Oh, oh, oh. Tu es belle et dans ton 6e, quand on s'aime, c'est le 7e ciel. Quand on s'aime, et tant qu'ici, quelquefois, les fleurs que tu reçois sont d'un autre que moi. S'il y a ton lit est trop dur, pourtant on y fait de beaux rêves. Oh, Cécilia, ton vin est trop doux, mais j'aime son goût sur tes lèvres. Tu as 20 ans et tu m'aimes pour passer le temps. Et tu mets le temps passe et la saison viendra où j'aurai seul la clé de ta maison. S'il y a ton lit est trop dur, pourtant on y fait de beaux rêves. Oh Cécilia, ton vin est trop doux, mais j'aime son goût sur tes lèvres.
He's not finished. Carnival. And on and on and on it goes. That's Joe Dassin. He's genuinely brilliant. Can I get away with playing another Joe Dassin song later on?
J'aime.
You wait till you hear Champs-Élysées. It's a wonderful song. The boys were singing it in France. It's a good song. I don't know what he's doing here. He's going a bit crazy there. Now, on to more serious issues. A blind woman from Stevenage got so worn down by bullies taking advantage of her disability, she decided to fight back by wearing a body camera. Ingenious, really. We'll be speaking to Siobhan Mead in about an hour's time, but it would seem her experience isn't unique. According to the Buckinghamshire Disability Service, most disabled people are targeted at some point in their lives, but the vast majority suffer in silence. If that's happened to you, if you've seen it happen to someone in the street or a friend or a relative, 08459 455 555. We can speak now to David Bikini. He's a wheelchair user and disability campaigner from Luton. And, the brain behind Dad Pop, aren't you, David?
Good morning. Yes, I am.
David, have you encountered abuse in the street?
Several times, yes, I have, yes.
How does it happen? How does it manifest itself?
In my particular case, it's because I've complained about somebody either parking in the wrong place or being an idiot on the road.
So, remind me what Dad Pop stands for.
Dad Pop stands for Disabled Against Drivers Parking on Pavement.
And so this is obviously... listen, I have to push my mum around in a wheelchair from time to time, and I know how frustrating it can be if you've got to go out into the road because there's a car on the pavement. You go around, don't you, David, kind of jotting down numbers and taking photos and stuff, and people get a little bit stroppy with you.
Oh, yes, they do. Yeah, they don't like it when you're upholding the law. They think that, that should be left to the police, and unfortunately the police are overworked and they're not in the position to be able to do it.
And what do they say to you, David? What kind of stuff?
Very often it's verbal abuse. I'm not going to use foul language, but, foul language comes into it quite often when you're told to F off or mind your own business. And there have been occasions when I have been physically threatened by drivers, and I just stand there and sit in my mobility scooter and I say, well, if you're man enough, come over and do it.
Oh, my gosh.
Who's going to win?
David, please don't get involved into any fights. I guess it seems odd to me, having a couple of relatives who are severely disabled, it seems odd that anybody would think it's appropriate to kind of have a go. I guess it's slightly different in your case to Siobhan, in as much as she's just blind and she's going out and she's getting abuse because she's blind. You're getting abuse because you're doing something. You're doing something specific.
Yeah, I think this is one of the reasons why when I was in the process of thinking about what I was going to be doing, I had to look deep inside myself and say, are you capable of doing this? Have I got the strength to back up what I'm doing? And although I might not be any good from the waist downwards, there's nothing wrong with me from the waist upwards. And if somebody wants to come over and have an attack of me, I always carry a walking stick, which is quite a solid item. And if they get too close because they're threatening, then I would lash out with that.
What do you think about Siobhan's story? Blind woman, just people shouting abuse at her just because she's blind.
I think it's disgusting that we live in a society where there is little respect. We do live in a society. I say it constantly on my Facebook site, that we live in a throwaway, don't give a toss society. And it's getting to the stage nowadays where it's often I've got colleagues or friends that are in mobility scooters and use wheelchairs that have even suffered the same thing, and they've backed away because they haven't had the ability to put themselves forward. They sort of just said nothing and just driven away.
It does seem one of the most cowardly targets to have a pop at someone who's in a wheelchair or someone who's blind, or I can't quite see how anybody would get their jollies from it.
Well, if you go to a school, you'll find there's an awful lot of it happens in schools.
Yeah.
Kids go to school that are wearing glasses, or they might have a funny shaped head because of a birth defect, or they might have a funny name and they are bullied because of it. And
kids do look for weakness and difference, don't they?
And would you believe it? Kids grow up to be adults.
Yeah.
And adults, they don't seem to want to change, and if they do change, then they become the complete opposite of what they started out with.
David, how's Dad Pop going? You're going to take it national. Is that still the plan?
It is still the plan, but it's slow.
Yeah.
I'm having problems with my computer at the moment, and unfortunately, the electronics of this world are not perfect. I've got a couple of counties that I'm actually speaking with and talking to, and I'm getting more and more organisations responding.
Good.
And, it's going to take time. I didn't expect it to happen overnight.
You've got a Facebook page as well, haven't you? I think we sent a few people there last time we had you on the show.
Yeah, I've got a Facebook, and I'm just in the process of starting a Google page.
Excellent stuff indeed. I don't know what a Google page is. That's how out of touch I am. Where did the idea for Dad Pop come from, David?
Oh, my goodness, out of my head. It did. Honestly, it was a dream I had one night. I don't know what the dream was, but I woke up on a Monday morning with Dad Pop in my head.
Good. Well, listen, good for you. Good for having that dream, and well done for seeing it through and making it work, David. I wish you the very best of luck.
Thank you. And for all those people that are out there that have to put up with idiots and bullies, stand up to them. Don't let them bully you.
David, thank you very much indeed. Wise words. I can't believe there are kids getting their kicks from having a pop at a blind lady. Can someone try and explain that to me? Well, kids in school, I can kind of understand it because children look for weakness, they look for difference, they look for vulnerability to make them feel better about themselves. But young people out on the street doing it... 08459 455 555. Here's the travel with Alif.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Good morning. On the speed sensors, the M1 London bound already looking a little busy around junction 11 for Dunstable Road. Also in Luton at the Kidneywood roundabout, the London Road as you head towards Harpenden is slower than normal for this time of the morning. And then we've got some roadworks to watch out for in Kingswood. On the A41, they're building a new roundabout between the Grendon Road and the Creighton Road, so there are temporary traffic lights there at the moment. I'm Alice Glossop, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Oh, boy. My producer's the best producer in the world. Oh, boy. She's come up with a treat. It's 6:17. It's Thursday, the 8th of May. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. A blind woman who's been the victim of abuse in Stevenage has used a body camera to identify the people responsible to the police. A 16-year-old boy from Luton is awaiting sentence after being convicted of stabbing a father during a burglary in town. And in sport, Manchester City are on the verge of regaining the Premier League title after a 4-0 win over Aston Villa.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Every weekday from 3, Roberto Perrone.
You told 580 gags in 1 hour. Can I test you for 1 minute?
I spent the whole year trying to get into classical music. It took the 4 seasons.
Weekdays from 3.
We heard from Neil earlier on. He claims he was discriminated against and asked to leave a pub because he injected himself in public in full view.
Insulin keeps my son alive, OK? If he doesn't inject, he'll die.
Roberto Perrone.
And I just thank you for the services that you do on here to help people like myself.
Weekdays from 3 on BBC Three Counties Radio.
This is why Catherine Boyle is not only the best producer here at BBC Three Counties Radio, she's also the best producer in Luton. Yeah, I say it and I mean it, and she's in the top 20 of producers I've worked with in my career, and I've worked with 15. She comes up with an idea, and within minutes, it's sorted out. Catherine, before we do this horrible story about this very nasty, unpleasant gentleman.
Yes.
Tell us what you've done, what your idea was, and what have you sorted out for us for the rest of the hour?
Well, you talked about that fantastic record at the beginning of the programme.
Bit of Joe Dassin, yeah.
Got the old cogs turning, and I thought, why don't we put in foreign versions of songs we know?
Oh, beautiful.
So you've got some foreign versions of songs you know. ABBA did quite a lot of them.
Yeah. Well, they are foreign, aren't they?
They're foreign to start with, so they were singing in English. That was a foreign language.
Yeah.
What does it make a difference if it's Spanish, Italian, German? This one's Spanish.
go.
Ring, ring, llámame a Finn, por favor.
I think this could be a regular little feature.
Well, OK.
You're not convinced?
I'm not sure how big our library is of foreign songs.
You leave it to my...
We can make it happen. Oh, yeah, we can make it happen.
We can make it happen. Dreams can come true. Now, here is a particularly unpleasant story. How long do you think you get for bullying someone to the point of them wetting themselves whenever they see you, burning them with cigarettes, kicking them and throwing them across the room? Well, what if I told you the victim was an animal? Does that make a difference? To some people, it certainly doesn't. A man from Welwyn is starting a 4-month jail sentence for doing exactly what I've been describing to his dog Ruby. Catherine's been looking into this. When you mentioned this yesterday, it's just horrible. What do we know about this person?
Right, well, the dog owner at the centre of this is 29-year-old Barry Garside Neville, who lived in Welwyn at the time but has since moved. Well, he's gone to prison, but when he gets out, he'll be at home now in Norfolk.
Good, he can stay there.
His case was heard at St Albans Magistrates Court, where witnesses spoke of seeing him intimidate his dog, Ruby, who, by the way, is a staffy, to the point that she would wet herself when she saw him. And it was while she was cowering with fear that he would pick her up, throw her, kick her, blow down her nose, burn her with cigarettes, and apparently the blow... I don't have a dog, so I'm not sure... I didn't know what that meant, but blowing down a dog's nose leaves them struggling for breath.
Tough guy.
Ruby was also left to suffer untreated with a pretty nasty skin condition. So... someone reported this to the RSPCA, and Garside Neville was consequently handed a 12-week sentence for failing to protect Ruby from pain, injury, suffering and disease, as well as subjecting her to physical trauma. He was also given an 8-week sentence for breaching an existing community order, and he's banned for life from owning a dog.
What's been the reaction from the RSPCA, who brought the case in the first place, didn't they?
Well, we'll be speaking to them later. The inspector in this case, Rachel Smith, though, told us it was unbelievable that someone could inflict such pain and suffering on an animal, and she described how Ruby would cower away from Garside Neville when in his company. And she said that Ruby's scars are mental as well as physical, telling us whenever she meets someone new, she'll sit and shake for about 5 minutes until she decides you're OK and will not harm her. Once she's relaxed, she's a delightful dog and very friendly, loves to play.
How is Ruby now?
The RSPCA say that Ruby's been with a foster family for a while now and she's doing so much better, but as we said, she's still affected by her experiences. But the organisation really wanted us to put across their thanks, really, to members of the public who were witnesses in court, and they were able to bring the case to court and thereby give Ruby the chance of a better life because those people spoke up.
I don't understand how someone could do this to a pet dog, and why would... If you don't like dogs, as this person obviously doesn't, why would you get a dog in the first place? How do they manage to own one?
It's a big question, and we're going to be exploring that in the course of the programme as to whether, there are some people calling for tests before you can own a dog, licences to be brought back in. But, the fact is a lot of people are buying dogs from people down the pub or at roadsides. How do you legislate for that? Under the Animal Welfare Act 2006, people are legally obliged to ensure the welfare of the animals under their care. The Act was introduced to reduce animal suffering by enabling preventative action to be taken by those responsible for the enforcement of welfare laws. So before any suffering actually occurs, they can step in. The law states that the owner of the animal should provide it with a suitable environment, diet and protect it from pain, suffering, injury and disease. Which sounds like a lot, but actually it's pretty basic. So food, shelter and treatment if they get sick.
That's all you've got to do. That's the basics of having a pet.
Clearly in this instance that was not the case, and later in the programme we'll be asking if it's time, as we say, to introduce some sort of ownership test.
I don't get dogs and why you don't own a dog, but
I don't get how you can treat anyone like this, never mind an animal.
To do that, I mean, tough guy, huh? Yeah, I know what. I've got a little dog, I'm going to kick it and bully it and burn it and do all these horrible things to it. Tough guy.
But also, after all we've heard about Staffordshire Bull Terriers, to actually cow one into submission like that, it must have been awful.
08459 455 555. What, if anything, can be done about that? We're having a little bit of fun this morning, playing famous songs in a foreign language. But can I play another Joe Dassin? This is awesome. This is Champs-Élysées. This is it was in some film recently. This is how I got to know about it. And when we were in France, the boys just kept singing this the whole time. This is wonderful.
Je me baladais sur l'avenue, le cœur ouvert à l'inconnu. J'avais envie de dire bonjour à n'importe qui. N'importe qui, et ce fut toi. Je t'ai dit n'importe quoi. Il suffisait de te parler pour t'apprivoiser. Aux Champs-Élysées, aux Champs-Élysées, au soleil, sous la pluie, à midi ou à minuit, il y a tout ce que vous voulez aux Champs-Élysées. Tu m'as dit j'ai rendez-vous dans un sous-sol avec des fous qui vivent la guitare à la main, du soir au matin. Alors je t'ai accompagné, on a chanté, on a dansé, et l'on n'a même pas pensé à s'embrasser. Aux Champs-Élysées, aux Champs-Élysées, au soleil, sous la pluie, à midi ou à minuit, il y a tout ce que vous voulez aux Champs-Élysées. Hier soir, deux inconnus, et ce matin sur l'avenue, deux amoureux tout étourdis par la longue nuit. Et de l'étoile à la Concorde, un orchestre a mis le corps. Tous les oiseaux du point du jour chantent l'amour. Aux Champs-Élysées, aux Champs-Élysées, au soleil, sous la pluie, à midi ou à minuit, il y a tout ce que vous voulez aux Champs-Élysées. Aux Champs-Élysées, aux Champs-Élysées, au soleil, sous la pluie, à midi ou à minuit, il y a tout ce que vous voulez aux Champs-Élysées. Aux Champs-Élysées, aux Champs-Élysées.
Lovely song. There's nothing in it about my experience on the Champs-Élysées. I got ripped off by a charity collector.
I don't think I don't think Joe Dassin would be portraying that side of the...
I'm going to write to him. He needs to sort that out.
You sort that. You write to Joe, and we'll go and get the travel from Alice.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The M1 London bound, busier than normal around junction 11 for Dunstable Road at the moment. Also on the sensors in Dunstable, the A5 northbound, building up as you head towards Houghton Regis from the Luton Road. In Welwyn Garden City, the A414 has a lane closed for roadworks near the Hartingford Bury Lane. Public transport, though, that's all looking good. We've got no reported problems. I'm Alice Glossop, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 6:30. I'm Simon Oxley. A blind woman who's been the victim of abuse in Stevenage has used a body camera to identify the people responsible to the police. Siobhan Mead is starting workshops in secondary schools in the town to raise awareness of disability hate crime. A 16-year-old boy from Luton is awaiting sentence after being convicted of stabbing a father during a burglary in the town. The teenager was cleared of attempted murder but convicted of wounding with intent. His two accomplices have not been caught. And the RSPCA has thanked members of the public for coming forward with information after a man was given a 4-month jail sentence for cruelty to his dog in Hertfordshire.
Three Counties Sports.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Manchester City are on the verge of regaining the Premier League title after a 4-0 win over Aston Villa. Manuel Pellegrini's City are 2 points clear of Liverpool with one game to play.
Well, now we can talk about the title. I think that before this game I was just thinking to win Aston Villa. Now, of course, we must win the last game here at home against West Ham. We are not thinking of drawing, we are just thinking on trying to play as we did so far during the whole season here in Etihad. If we play in that way, maybe we can win the title.
And Sunderland's 2-0 win at home to West Brom secured their Premier League safety and all but relegated Norwich. The Dutch coach, Louis van Gaal, has told the BBC he wants to join Manchester United. United are unlikely to announce David Moyes' successor before their final league game on Sunday, but Van Gaal is ready to join after the World Cup.
For every coach who takes the job, it's a fantastic challenge, and I hope that I shall be the one, but you have to wait and see.
Luton host Biggleswade Town in the Beds Senior Cup final tonight with a 7:30 kick-off at Kenilworth Road. Cycling's Women's Tour of Britain heads for Bedford today. The second stage starts in Hinckley and is expected in Bedford at around 2 p.m. There's coverage with Nick Coffer live in Bedford from midday. Andy Murray's through to the third round of the Madrid Masters after a 3-set win over Nicolas Almagro. And Bedford Rugby Club have announced 4 more signings for next season. Props James Curry and Tom Williams join from Leeds and Leicester. Fly-half Stephen Jones joins from Newport Gwent Dragons, and back row forward Daryl Dyer makes the move from near neighbours Ampthill. BBC Three Counties News and Sport. The next full bulletin is at 7.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Back to famous songs in the foreign language in a second, and we've got a couple of corkers coming up. But first of all, let's have a quick look at the papers. I'm surprised that 2.5 weeks after nearly 300 girls were kidnapped by Boko Haram in Nigeria, I'm surprised that only now it's becoming front-page story. And it doesn't seem to be a particularly... Well, was it the Telegraph, the front page, or the Guardian, where the front page story about these 270 girls that have been kidnapped and are going to be sold on the market. That's if they're still alive, guys. It's loads of people wearing a red T-shirt. That's going to get them back, isn't it? Hey, that's going to sort it out.
I'm not sure Boko Haram have internet connections in wherever they are, but I mean, it's good that it's got attention. It's good that it's got attention. It's putting pressure on people who can do something about it, hopefully.
How has it taken 2.5 weeks for it to get... I only heard about this on Saturday, I think, when someone on LBC mentioned it. I thought, well, hang on, why has this not been the front page news?
I heard it a while ago on 5 Live. You know, they do the early morning thing where it's all news from around the world, and I thought, my goodness, why is this not getting more attention?
Is it because it's Nigeria and we're not really that bothered about Nigeria? Whether we're bothered about Nigeria or not, I'm bothered about 300 girls being kidnapped.
Yeah, exactly.
And Angelina Jolie has come out and said she's disgusted by it. Oh, great. Well, that's that sorted.
George Clooney. Look, I know it's ridiculous and it shouldn't make any difference. It should already be, the wheel should already be in motion. But I do think these high-profile people putting their names to it does raise awareness. It makes, Joe Public in the street maybe sit up and take a bit more notice. That's just the way it works at the moment, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but what? It's a weird one, because what good me knowing about it? What good Joe Bloggs? What good Angelina Jolie knowing about it? The military... It
puts pressure on governments, doesn't it? Who are trying to win elections.
I suppose so. I do. Yeah. Who's the? It's Dr. Feelgood Jonathan. What's the guy's name in Nigeria? Good Luck Jonathan. Wow, there's a name that really hasn't lived up to in any way, and he's not. He doesn't seem to have done that much. Surely you'd be saying, yeah, hello, is that Obama? Could you send me a load of troops over here, please, to go and rescue these girls? Could you? Hello, yes, William Hay. Could you send the SAS over, please?
Yes. The SAS have already been there, and apparently now they're turning their attention. They were looking at something else, and they're turning their attention to this now. Good news.
I just think I'm just shocked. I think it's an incredible story, and why isn't it on the front page of all the newspapers all the time? Nearly 300 girls have been kidnapped
by people who are treating them like cattle.
Yeah, that's really going to win you support, isn't it? Hardline freedom fighters stroke terrorist by kidnapping a load of girls because they go to school. That's what religious freedom's all about. 08459 455 555. Who have we got now, please, Catherine?
We have got Miss Cilla Black.
Oggi rido quasi senza un perché. Colgo un fiore, ti abbraccio e ti stacco da me. Poi ritorno da te, tu non comprendi e mi domandi cosa c'è. Mi innamoro di te, mi innamoro sempre di più. Oggi piango e il motivo non c'è, e ti guardo ma taccio stringendoti a me e poi fuggo da te. Tu non comprendi e mi domandi cosa c'è. Mi innamoro Oggi canto, cosa canto non so. T'avvicini, sorridi, vuoi baciarmi, lo so, io ti dico di no. Tu non comprendi e mi domandi cosa c'è. Mi innamoro di te, mi innamoro e tu lo sai. Mi innamoro e voglio te, mi innamoro e sempre di più.
Who wrote this song? Anyone? Guys who wrote this song? I don't know who wrote this. Who would have translated it? Who wrote the song?
Tell me.
Paul McCartney.
Did he?
Paul McCartney wrote Step Inside Love. Yes, oh, yes, indeed.
Does he mean it in a Scouse way, or is he saying step inside love, the concept, or is he saying come in, love, take your shoes off? I think he told her it was about welcoming the crowd in.
It's probably a play on words because he's dead clever
you know
like
what he's
that.
like.
Hey, I feel really sorry for Katie Price-Jordan.
Yeah.
She's
Looks like she picked another wrong un.
Well, there's a surprise. She's the fella. You could tell by the shirt he's wearing at their wedding. Her third husband, he's cheated on her with fair play, a hot 49-year-old. She's 6 months pregnant. Bish bash bosh. Wallop. Have it. He's out on his
All
ear.
over Twitter, though.
All over Twitter. Have a little bit of respect, for goodness sakes. Disappointing. What do we think about Katie Price-Jordan?
I think she needs a sister.
What?
I think... I don't know her, but I would like to be her friend and tell her the truth about some things.
I met her years ago before she...
She seems like a nice girl.
She was nice, but this is when she was making the transition from Jordan to Katie Price, and no one was quite sure what we were supposed to call her. And she was a bit dim, but she was lovely. She seemed very nice.
From what I see, I know she's not as daft as she sometimes makes out, or some people assume, but she seems to be surrounded by people who are making money out of her, and that's never healthy, is it?
Dean has emailed in, I would like Jai Ho representing the Asian community. Get out of here. Get out of here. You got your own show.
What? Hey, maybe for another show.
I can.
It's a good idea.
Dean, this is
We're
for
going
you.
more classic song.
This is for you and for all of the Asian community. Perdesi, jana nahe, mujhe chole ke. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much.
He had that singing face on right
Yeah,
his eyes there.
I got the singing face. Oh, I can sing foreign.
Hey, motorists who end up on the wrong side of road rage will benefit from research into devices designed to affect and even predict bad moods.
Oh, for goodness
So if you've got a monk on, your car will know.
Oh, I know what this is. This is those mood rings, isn't it?
No,
hey,
it's
your
not.
ring's gone orange. You must be sad.
The urge to vent frustration at fellow road users, thump computer keyboards or channel hop television stations has become a familiar facet of our gadget-filled lives. Now scientists hope to quell driver anger while lure frustrated technology users into sticking with a particular gadget for a little longer. How are they going to do it? Sensors, which will measure pulse, sweat and other physiological indicators.
This is the new thing. Nintendo did it a couple of years ago with a gadget.
You weren't so wrong with the mood ring thing.
Go on.
A driver would be fitted with sensors that could change the colour of the car bodywork if they detected he was about to erupt.
Next, they'll be predicting your future with a little plastic fish. Oh, you're
yeah. Fickle.
You're fickle.
That was both ends, wasn't it?
Yeah, Mum, what does fickle mean? It always came up as fickle. This is the kind of the new technology. Apple are about to announce they've developed these earphones that monitor your sweat and your heartbeat and all of... why would you want that?
If you're one of those joggers.
Hey, look at this man.
What?
Here.
What's he done that for?
And he's had his bum tattooed with the Nando's logo.
He looks a bit like Max Headroom, doesn't he?
He looks a bit like Max Headroom crossed with Deck, crossed with a stern-looking woman.
Yes.
A feisty woman.
Why would you do that to
Fast food fan Bradley Holman... Well, let's find out. Fast food fan Bradley Holman has got out the pen and ink to have the Nando's logo tattooed on his, in capital letters, backside. Shop worker Bradley, 19, spends £1,500 a year at the chicken diner chain.
Wow.
Wow, a year! I thought it was going to be a month. £1,500 a year at the chicken diner chain. He said, ever since I first tried their peri-peri chicken, I've been crazy about it. I order the same every time. An extra hot whole chicken and garlic bread. Nothing beats it. Bradley of Kingswood, Surrey, got the £75 artwork done during a lad's holiday in Crete. But he got the right rump when the firm refused him a discount in honour of his tat. He said, they said they don't give free meals.
Yeah,
Well-
and also they don't like people to get their backsides out in the restaurant.
Bradley, can I just say, sir, they lied to you when they said they don't give you free meals. I once got, at the height of my fame, I got sent a black Nando's membership card preloaded with £25.
Wow, I don't get the Nando's thing.
What?
I don't get it at all.
What?
I've been once. I think I've done it.
I don't get any restaurant where you sit down. Have you been to a Nando's before? Right, the way it works is you go up and order. What? Hang on, I'm in a restaurant. You're over here. Take my order now. No, you go up and order.
What's this wooden chicken for? Oh,
Yeah.
so I can wave it at you.
Yeah, I've not been to a Nando's since I. Oh, there's Miley Cyrus showing off. What's it again? Since I've become a meat eater.
tired old thing.
That tired old thing. What makes it even more disgusting? And I think you'll agree with me. She's not only she's showing off that tired old thing. She's doing it while she's wearing the Union flag, and that really does take the biscuit.
She seems to be intent on scooching it up as high as it'll go as well.
Pulling it. She's giving herself a wedgie.
Why would you do that?
That is going to cause you untold damage. Hey, I know which countries have got the biggest and indeed the smallest penises.
What?
Yeah, I know. And it's not just something I know. The Sun has given us a chart.
Okay, they've carried out some exhaustive research, have they?
Todger size around the world.
Wow.
I think we can talk about this.
Carefully.
Global quest of bloke humiliated over manhood. Pick a country, any country.
Spain.
Spain, we go round the disc of countries and we find that Spain, 5.5 inches.
France?
6.3.
What about the UK? Good old Blighty.
Come on, boys, let's do it. Let's do it for Britain. Where are we? We don't have Britain. We have... where on earth is it? Congo, 7.1. England and Wales, 5.5.
I'd like to see the basis of this research.
I bet you would. You'd have your hands all over that research, wouldn't you? Unbelievable. Have you got
Hey,
anything
talking
else?
about hands all over,
Yes.
Britons have shed their stiff upper lip reputation and embraced hugging, a new study. Who did this study?
Yes.
People hug an average of 2.26 times a day, so that's 2 proper ones and 1 awkward skirmish.
Yeah, yeah.
Or 825 times a year, with the Welsh being the biggest huggers according to the research. Oh, dear.
Have you ever been in a hug with someone who doesn't want to be in a hug?
Yeah, where you can feel their whole body recoil.
Yeah, I've got a friend who I don't see very often. I see him once every few years. I'm due to probably bump into him at some point soon. And it's always nice to see him because he's really important in my career. And I go and hug him. And while I'm going towards the hug and he stood there, I think... Oh, yeah, Dom doesn't like hugging.
Yeah, I'm already in.
And I'm in it.
Commit.
All right,
Commit.
all right.
And then do the release pat.
Yeah. Good to see you, man.
I find it with male family members, older ones, by marriage,
Yeah,
right? But
oh.
if you've gone around the whole room and you've been giving your aunties a hug, you're going to give everyone present a hug, aren't you? Otherwise, it's going to be like, yeah, see, mate.
Yeah, you
give
have
them a
to.
salute or a wave.
The Greek men go for the full kiss.
Yeah. On the lips or?
I've been kissed on the lips. It's mainly on the cheeks, and it's not an air kiss. It's a wet, sloppy kiss on the
See,
cheeks.
because in Spain, you pretty much just brush cheeks like
No,
in
it's
France.
a full-on...
Have some of that.
Yeah, get in there.
I like it. It breaks the ice.
Breaks the ice at parties. 08459 455 555. More after this.
Travel news for beds, cards, and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The M1 London bound, slow at junction 11 for Dunstable Road. The M25 anti-clockwise looking very slow now between junction 21 for the M1 and 20 for Kings Langley. Also on the speed sensors, the A1M southbound struggling around junction 7 for Stevenage, while in Ware, the A10 is slow in both directions at the A602 Ware turn-off. Public transport has no reported problems. I'm Alice Glossop, BBC Three Counties Radio.
I'll tell you the sentence in a second. Dear. Conversations are very, very fruity. 6:46, it's Thursday the 8th of May. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. A blind woman who's been the victim of abuse in Stevenage has used a body camera to identify the people responsible to the police. A 16-year-old boy from Luton is awaiting sentence after being convicted of stabbing a man during a burglary in the town. And in sport, Manchester City are on the verge of regaining the Premier League title after a 4-0 win over Aston Villa. Let's get the weather. Here's Wendy.
Beds, Hearts and Bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Good morning. It's a cloudy start for us all, and it started to rain in a few spots across the three counties as well. Now, that is rather what's going to happen for the rest of the day. The rain is really going to set in, and there will be some heavy bursts across the three counties, which means go carefully on the roads, because I suspect there will be some spray and difficult driving conditions. Breezy conditions as well. Those winds will pick up from the southwest as we go through the afternoon, and temperatures in Luton will get to about 14 degrees. I think a muggy feeling day, if anything. Then as we go through the evening, the rain will be clearing away towards the east. I think it will clear a little bit too late for any sunshine, but we might just squeeze some out of the day late afternoon and evening across parts of Hertfordshire, for example, into some parts of the region. Then as we go through the night, it's largely dry. There will be some clear sky, and temperatures will be around 10 degrees Celsius, so a fairly mild night. And towards the end of it, we could see one or two showers cropping up, being blown in on a breeze from a southwesterly direction once again. So tomorrow is a straightforward day of dodging those showers with some sunshine in between, and temperatures will be again around 13-14 degrees Celsius. Saturday, it's a duvet day. I think it's just not worth getting out of bed because it's going to be rainy, it's going to be wet. Sunday might be a bit better. There will be some showers around, but some sunshine in between. Temperatures over the weekend similar to what we've got out there at the moment, and it will be breezy on both days. That's how it's looking so far this morning.
Every weekday morning from 9.
Good morning, welcome to the JVS show.
Your local stories.
Have you had to rebuild your life after being a victim of crime? Do you think it's inhumane to keep people in prison for life? Do you think that immigration needs to stop?
Your local life.
Why do 70% of this country feel immigration is wrong?
We've actually got an open doors policy.
I am just so angry listening to some of them people.
What the government are doing, they'll start introducing American-type sentencing, like 200 years in prison.
The JVS show.
British people are not xenophobic.
Weekday mornings from 9 on BBC Three Counties Radio.
Es gibt ein Ort, da geh ich hin, flüstere Freude und Leid, ganz allein, ganz allein, ganz allein. Schloss und Riegel schließen aus, Furcht und Sorgen hier, ganz allein, ganz allein, ganz allein. Träume hier, schmiede Pläne, ohne Schlaf zu flehen. Durch mein Weinen und mein Seufzen, Lachen, schau zurück. Dunkel ist, ich bin allein, doch fürchte ich mich nicht, ganz allein, ganz allein, ganz allein, ganz allein, ganz allein, ganz allein.
That's the actual Beach Boys singing in German.
You know, he'll be loving that. Scoins.
Scoins, he will be loving that.
He'll understand every word.
Oh, we'll be loving it. Ja, das ist sehr gut. We're playing famous songs in foreign languages. Just.
Have you nicked my idea again?
No,
Yeah, I think you have, boss.
Well, when was this your idea?
On Saturday.
What?
Okay, 11:20 on Saturday, I played the Spanish version of Blondie Call Me because it was a UK number one on this day back in 1980. It was also the American number one on the same day, so I couldn't play the same song twice, so I played the Spanish version, which was released in America.
As you know, Justin, I legally do not listen to your show, so no, I've not stolen your idea.
Somebody must have tipped you off.
No one's...
Scott Balcony on Twitter, it's him.
No one has... No, I don't think even he listens, and he's a big fan of yours.
All right.
No one has tipped me off, Justin.
Okay.
Although it's an excellent idea.
It
Well done,
is.
both of you. Woo.
Yes, thanks.
Well, hang on, you came up with it today.
Yeah, well done, me.
But I came up with it in 1998.
Okay, so between us, we've...
But I came up with it first. Justin.
Yes, boss.
There are so many things we could send you out on today. We could talk about this survey in The Sun that tells you, the size of gentlemen around the world. We did consider that for a moment.
Yeah.
That's a good one, yep.
Then we thought better of it.
No.
Kath, what have we got for him?
Dog test.
Hello, is this thing on?
Continue.
Dog test.
Dog tests.
Do people think you should have to take a test before owning a dog?
Oh, I thought you meant you wanted him to go and test dogs.
No.
No?
What for?
Intelligence, diseases.
Oh.
No?
No.
Loyalty?
That would take all day.
Okay.
This needs to be something you can whip round and do quite quickly.
Again, it could be referring to the story in The Sun. So, yeah, there's this horrible story, just about this fellow who's been absolutely awful to this dog. He's been sentenced for 12 weeks. Good for them, although, maybe it should be a bit longer. What do we do to stop it? Dog cruelty. Should we bring in tests for people to own dogs? Should we raise the standard so that it can't just be any old idiot that can get a dog?
I mean, how on earth could you, if you got an animal, put a cigarette out on your dog? It's just, when I heard this yesterday and you've been talking about it this morning, absolutely shocking. Thankfully, this person will never own a dog again. So, yep, I can report on that for you. But also, Ian,
yes.
My mission continues to prove to you
here we go.
that ghosts do exist. Okay, you spoke about this yesterday morning. You were saying that there was mystery bangs in the building. I said to you, our building was built on an old cemetery.
You did say
We've
that,
had the Ghostbusters in. We have scientific proof that there are ghosts in our building. You don't believe this nonsense? No, I'm not going to let this go, because coming up in around an hour's time,
yes, mate.
I have got some truly disturbing That means evidence that you will not be able to deny.
What that means is you found some bloke who's half cut at 6 o'clock in the morning who saw a figurine as he walked up the stairs once.
Trust me, I am telling you and our listeners, at 10 to 8 this morning, this is a story that you just must hear. This is the most shocking ghost story that I have ever heard, and you will hear that a bit later on.
Do you know there's a substantial cash reward for anyone who can prove that there's life after death? So what are you going to spend it on, Justin?
I'm going to be in the Caribbean saying to everyone, hey guys, I have scientific proof that ghosts exist. But no, seriously, I promise you, I promise you, in an hour's time, you'll be saying to me, Dealey, do you know what? I can't deny it anymore. Something weird is happening.
Dealey, I'll speak to you later. Something weird is happening. The fact your contract keeps getting renewed, that's what's weird. Have you got one more story, then we'll have a bit of Beatles.
Yeah, how do you combat child obesity? Make them stand up instead of sitting down at school.
No, you make no.
Yeah.
You feed them less and it'll feed them better. And
No.
Oh, what is it again?
This is the standout in class study.
Oh.
Adjustable desks allow them to stand to do their schoolwork to prevent them being sedentary for long periods. Yeah, but standing up and not moving, still not moving.
That's still sedentary, isn't it?
Well, I think sedentary means sitting down.
I thought sedentary meant just not moving.
I thought it came from, the word seed, as in seat.
Yeah, but seeds... Right,
have a look. I think it means sitting down.
Hang on a second. I thought it meant... No, sedentary is just...
Let's have a look. Let's see what the Ox-Ing-Dix says.
Yeah, well, the Oxford Dix says you need to say sorry to me.
Why?
Because I'm right, probably. It's not come up yet. Hang on. Okay. I'm right.
Go on.
1, sedentary, characterised by or requiring a sitting posture.
There you go.
No, but
You're
2.
welcome.
No. 2, accustomed to sit or rest a great deal, or to take little exercise, exercise.
That's what it's come to mean. But it comes down from the word root is about sitting down.
Yeah, the word root. Yeah, that's the root. But it now means just standing, just not moving.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, you're completely right.
Well, no, I am right.
Okay. No, you be right.
The Oxford Dix has told me I'm right.
You just enjoy that then.
No, I'll enjoy it because I'm right.
Okay.
But I don't understand.
Enjoy it.
You're such an idiot.
Sie liebt mich, yeah.
Sie denkt ja nur an dich und du solltest zu ihr gehen. Oh ja, sie liebt dich, schöner kann es gar nicht sein. Ja, sie liebt dich und da solltest du dich freuen. Du hast ihr wehgetan, sie wusste nicht warum. Du warst nicht schuld daran und drehtest dich nicht um. Oh ja, sie liebt dich, schöner kann es gar nicht sein. Ja, sie liebt dich und da solltest du dich freuen. Sie liebt dich, yeah, yeah, yeah. Sie liebt dich, yeah, yeah, yeah. Denn mit dir allein kann sie nur glücklich sein. Du musst jetzt zu ihr gehen, entschuldig dich bei ihr. Ja, das wird sie verstehen und dann verzeiht sie dir. Oh ja, sie liebt dich, schöner kann es gar nicht sein. Ja, sie liebt dich und da solltest du dich freuen. Sie liebt dich, yeah, yeah, yeah. Sie liebt dich, yeah, yeah, yeah. Denn mit dir allein kann sie nur glücklich sein. Denn mit dir allein kann sie nur glücklich sein. Denn mit dir allein kann sie nur glücklich sein. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Why are they not singing Ya Ya Ya? 08459 455 555. Lots coming. We didn't even get round to look at the expose by the Daily Mail of just how much halal meat you're eating. Maybe we'll have a look at that later on. Oh, we won't be listening to that. We'll be listening to this. The Travel with Alice.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The M1 London bound still looking slow on the speed sensors around junction 11 for Dunstable Road. The M25 anti-clockwise also struggling between junction 17 for Maple Cross and 16 for the M40. Very slow between junction 21 for the M1 and 20 for Kings Langley. At Bricketwood, we've got queues heavier than normal on the North Orbital as you approach the M25 junction 21A roundabout. Public transport all looking good with no reported problems. I'm Alice Glossop, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you very much, Alice. So there's a fella, he bullied and beat his dog. He's got 12 weeks in prison. Now, is that enough? Is that too much? And how could someone do that to a dog? 08459 455 555.
Local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 7 o'clock. I'm Simon Oxley. The headlines: blind woman films abuse in Stevenage, 16-year-old boy guilty of stabbing man during Luton burglary, and jail for Hertfordshire man who burned his dog with cigarettes.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
A blind woman who's been the victim of abuse in Stevenage has used a body camera to identify the people responsible to the police. Siobhan Mead is starting workshops in secondary schools in the town to raise awareness of disability hate crime. More from Jessica Cooper.
Siobhan says she was made to feel like she didn't want to go out after constantly being abused by teenagers. Because she couldn't see what they looked like, she wore a body camera and gave the footage to the police. They stepped in and the abuse stopped. Siobhan's now working with secondary schools to highlight the issue of hate crime.
A 16-year-old boy from Luton is awaiting sentence after being convicted of stabbing a man during a burglary in the town. 47-year-old Tony Abrahams suffered multiple stab wounds when he confronted burglars in his home in Willfield Avenue last November. The 16-year-old, who can't be named because of his age, was cleared of attempted murder but convicted of wounding with intent. His two accomplices have not been caught. Barclays is expected to announce thousands of job losses this morning. It's understood the reduction could be as many as 15,000 posts, up to 70% of which could be in Britain. The RSPCA has thanked members of the public for coming forward with information after a man was given a 4-month jail sentence for cruelty to his dog in Hertfordshire. 29-year-old Barry Garside Neville, formerly of Welwyn Garden City, was also given a lifetime ban from owning dogs after repeatedly kicking his Staffordshire Bull Terrier and burning the animal with cigarettes. More from Tony Fisher.
St Albans Magistrates Court heard how the dog called Ruby would often be seen cowering away from Garside Neville. Witnesses described they'd seen him intimidate her until she wet herself. He then picked her up, threw her, kicked her and held her in the air, blowing down her nose. Garside Neville also left her bad skin condition untreated by vets.
Bedfordshire Police are relocating Ampthill Police Station to nearby Flitwick. It's part of a money-saving review of police buildings by Commissioner Ollie Martins. The new station in Flitwick will be in the Hawthorns. During a study of station use by the public, Ampthill received an average of just 4.5 visits a day. Tesco and Marks & Spencer have confirmed that they're selling halal lamb from New Zealand without saying how it has been killed. Muslim and Jewish leaders are calling for all shoppers to be told how animals have been slaughtered. A bus was destroyed by fire in central Milton Keynes yesterday afternoon. Nobody was injured in the incident close to the main bus station in Eldergate at around 3:20. In sport, Manchester City are on the verge of regaining the Premier League title after a 4-0 win over Aston Villa. City are 2 points clear of Liverpool with 1 game to play. And cycling's Women's Tour of Britain heads for Bedford today. The second stage starts in Hinckley and is expected in Bedford at around 2 o'clock. The weather, cloud and rain spreading west across the region and lasting most of the day. A maximum temperature 15 degrees Celsius. And you can get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/3 counties.
BBC Three Counties Radio's big tour of beds, hearts and bucks.
Lovely. Yeah, it's really nice. Nice little shops.
It's all about where you live.
I found it great because I can get around. I'm in a mobility scooter and I can move around the centre with no problem at all.
And all this week we're featuring Milton Keynes.
I absolutely love it. I came up here 15 years ago.
The big tour of beds, hearts and bucks. BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Simon. Morning, this is Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. Busy show. Coming up, Silly Sausage Justin is going to give us more Ev and why he thinks ghosts exist. Give it up, Just. You're embarrassing yourself, mate. We'll also be talking about the Stevenage woman who hit back at hate crime and the Welham man jailed for, well, being rather obnoxious and unpleasant to his dog. How can anyone do that? And he got 12 weeks. Is that enough? Is that too much? Facebook.com/BBC 3CR. Or you can give me a call, 08459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
I'm intrigued. Simon mentioned this story in the news. The halal meat in various supermarkets and restaurants. KFC, Domino's, Subway, Pizza Express, Nando's, Ask Pizza. I do like a good Ask Pizza. This story is in the Mail. It's in the Sun as well. It's in the Mail. The furore that the Mail has, I think, kind of created itself over halal meat. Now, basically, they're saying that you could be in an Ask Pizza, a Nando's, a Pizza Express, a Subway, a Domino's, and you could be eating halal meat without realising it. Now, as someone who's new to the world of meat after 25 years of not eating it, I don't get the furore. I don't get why the Mail are saying we should be upset by this.
Well, and we're often told about the traditional halal method of slaughter.
Yeah.
But it would appear that when it's being done on an industrial scale here, we're told at least that the animals are stunned before their throats are cut.
And that's always the argument. It's cruel because you slit their throats. Yeah, but they're stunned. So whether it's a slit throat or a bolt through the head, if they're stunned, that doesn't make a difference then, does it? Really? Does it matter what prayer is being said while it what music they're listening to? Because they have to listen to special music, I think, if it's halal or kosher.
I thought there had to be a prayer.
Yeah. But I don't... Can someone phone up and tell me why you're upset by this? Because I know that some of you will be upset by this. We spoke to Steve the Melker yesterday, who wasn't particularly keen on the idea. If someone could phone me up... the front page of The Sun. How big brand shops and restaurants sell ritually slaughtered meat but don't label it. Millions are eating halal food without knowing it. I don't get it. Fine, yeah, OK. Does it taste nice? Fine, I'll have it. Can someone phone up and tell me why you are disgusted by this, why you're angry by this, why you think we should be concerned by this? Because I don't get it. As far as I can see, the Mail are making a big story out of nothing. 08459 455 555. I'd be keen to hear. There'll be people listening to this who are angry. Some of you may even be disgusted by it. But what? Why? Apart from the knee-jerk reaction to hearing the word halal... Oh, halal, Islam. So, a lot of people have a knee-jerk reaction to that. Apart from that, once you get past that, tell me why you're upset by it. Because I'm new to the world of eating, mate. I don't understand the upset and the furore. 08459 455 555. Now, a blind woman who's only recently moved to Stevenage was so shocked at the level of hostility and bullying directed towards her that she wore a body camera to gather evidence. And it would seem that Siobhan Mead's experience isn't unique. The Buckinghamshire Disability Service told us most disabled people experience what will be classified as a hate crime in their lifetime, but rarely report it to police. This is incredible. If it's happened to you, then please do get in touch. Our reporter spoke to these partially sighted people in Hertfordshire.
I was getting assistance at Birmingham New Street and the assistants didn't show, so these two boys, or young boys, took me upstairs and they passed me over to someone who I thought was a member of staff, but it turned out it wasn't. It was just a random guy. And he was quite intimidating because I didn't know where I was. He took me outside, supposedly to get my taxi. He started to try and get me to go for a drink with him. I said no. He sort of then decided he was going to try and give me a kiss, which I was appalled by.
If I'm walking down the street and I hear a group of, well, they don't have to be young people, but invariably they are, laughing, shouting, messing about, especially if I hear lots of male voices, I wonder, is it safe to walk past them? Are they drunk? Are they going to shout out abuse? They come too close to you. Sometimes they put their hands on you. I don't like that at all. I find it extremely intimidating.
My apologies, that wasn't our reporter talking to partially sighted people in Hertfordshire. I think that was Siobhan talking to partially sighted people. Is that right, Siobhan?
Yes, it was, actually.
I apologise for stealing credit away.
That's OK, not a problem.
So why have you got that clip? What have you been doing with that?
I've been speaking to local blind and partially sighted people, not only here in Stevenage, but across the country, and to gather what they find intimidating. And I think it's really important to get as much of this information as possible and put it out into the community. And that's what I've been doing with local schools here in Stevenage and taking it to young students to let them know what is going on and what blind and partially sighted people do find intimidating.
Siobhan, what happened to you?
OK, since moving to the area in, last November, I experienced what some people might consider low-level crime or incidences. And it can range from verbal abuse and intimidation. It was so distressing because, I wanted just to go around the town, learning my way, obviously a new area. I wanted to gain more confidence. And coming up with all of this, it just wasn't easy. So, swearing.
So just obviously holding back on some of the bad language. Yeah. What kind of things were they saying to you?
They said blind and then star, star, star. Go and get your eyes tested. Star, star, star. Gandalf was something that was used quite frequently. The screaming, the shouting, woo, all this sort of silliness, and people might think that that's nothing, but if you are experiencing it over several days, weeks, months, years, it can become huge.
And do you know how old these people were?
Yeah, they were between the ages of 14 and 16 on a lot of them.
Yeah.
And in one incident, they were roughly about 18 or 19 years old.
And obviously you couldn't see them, so you couldn't identify them to police, but you put a camera on and filmed them.
Yes,
that's genius. That's genius. I mean, that's a great idea.
It was the last resort. I mean, nobody wants to go through their life through a camera. And it took a long time. It took about 6-7 weeks for me to kind of think, well, actually, what am I going to do about this? I can't identify these individuals. So the only way that I'm going to be able to gather evidence to say, look, this is happening, and then for them to be identifiable to police, I then went around not local companies, but companies across the UK to see if they could give me a body-worn camera to trial, just so I can actually get the individuals recognised.
And when you obviously there are issues going on, but were the police able to act on that when you gave them the video? Were they able to go, oh, okay, yeah, we can go and get these little so and so's?
They were, and it was brilliant actually, because the police have been so supportive and given me lots of reassurance, advice, and when I took the footage to them, they were able to deal with it, because they were able to hopefully identify these individuals.
Were you scared, Siobhan, when, not necessarily wearing the camera, but when you got this abuse, you moved into a new area, like I say, you've got to kind of feel your way around. Did it intimidate you?
It intimidated beyond belief. Unless you actually experience this, then I don't think you really have an idea. Every time I go out of my house, I'm scared, because obviously living with a visual impairment, you have to rely and trust on people, and because it was a new area, I felt extremely vulnerable at the best of times. So yeah, I was, and I have to admit to your listeners, like I have admitted before, I came home and I cried on several occasions because I just felt hopeless, and it nearly destroyed my life as a person. And thankfully it didn't, because I wanted to change this. I wanted to put all these negative experiences into something that I could change and maybe make better, not only for disabled people, but for people generally.
Why do you think they were doing it?
Personally, I think it's just mindless actions that they just don't think. And I think they think it was probably quite hilarious, and they wanted to look good with their friends. I don't know why anybody would want to abuse somebody that can't defend for themselves.
The thing is, I remember vaguely being, sort of 14 years old, and kids at school, they look for differences and weaknesses, don't they? 'Cause it makes them feel stronger if they can point to someone who is different and is weak. But I'm struggling to understand why they would do that to a blind woman in the street they've never met before. I can't quite work out what the kick would be.
No, I don't know either, and I don't think your listeners do, and everybody who I've spoken to, I don't think knows exactly why you would want to do that. But it's like animals. If there's a weak animal amongst the rest of them, they go and attack. They go and attack it. I don't know. It's bizarre to think that anyone would find it firstly amusing, and secondly hilarious to continue this form of abuse.
You're going around schools now talking to young people. What kind of reaction are you getting?
Yesterday was the launch of the Respect campaign.
Oh, really? It was the first one?
It was fantastic going into the Da Vinci Studio School in Stevenage, and the youngsters were so engaging, and they were so respectful to this actual campaign, and they were just horrified that this actually happens on their doorstep. And they have reassured me that they're going to talk to other friends, probably from other schools and people that they hang around with, of all the issues I've been having, and to positively move forward in terms of coming together as a community.
Did anybody step in and help, Siobhan? When these kids were shouting at you, did anyone say, "Oi, pack it in"?
I'm afraid not, actually.
Oh, man.
On several incidences, I did call out and say, do you know, someone has just abused me for being blind. Can anyone help me? And sadly, no one stopped to offer assistance.
Do you know what? I think in some ways that's worse. I think that someone who is obviously, someone who is blind, calling out for help and people walking on by, I think that might be even worse.
I think in a way it is, but I can understand this. The society is probably scared to get involved in anything, any disputes, anything that might happen on the street because of what they think might happen to them. I know it sounds, silly to say, and I can understand where they're coming from, but in this incident, I think, well, actually, someone is calling out for help who is clearly distressed and clearly has a disability. And I think if anyone does see anything, please offer advice. Please don't just walk on by and hold your head down to the floor, because you could be a key witness for somebody, because, like me, I couldn't see who they were to identify them.
Siobhan, I'm embarrassed that you've been through that, but I think getting a camera on is absolutely genius, so well done for taking the initiative and taking control of the situation.
Thank you.
Really nice to talk to you, Siobhan Mead, thank you. I'm shocked by that, and I am more shocked, I think, 14-year-olds are little so-and-sos, but people walk... So there's a blind lady in the street going, hello, can someone help? And people are walking past... 08459 455 555.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The M1 London bound, slow going between junction 11 for Dunstable Road and 7 for Hemel Hempstead now. The M25 anti-clockwise, very slow between junction 21 for the M1 and 20 for Kings Langley. Still got queues hanging around in Bricket Wood on the North Orbital as you approach the M25 junction 21A roundabout. And on the speed sensors at the Black Cat roundabout, the A1 southbound already very heavy as you head towards the roundabout. Public transport has no reported problems. I'm Alice Glossop, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you very much, Alice. 7:17, it's Thursday, the 8th of May. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. A blind woman who's been the victim of abuse in Stevenage has used a body camera to identify the people responsible to the police. A 16-year-old boy from Luton is awaiting sentence after being convicted of stabbing a man during a burglary in the town. And in sport, Manchester City are on the verge of regaining the Premier League title after a 4-0 win over Aston Villa.
BBC Three Counties Radio. If you've missed any of the programmes from the last week, you've missed things like this.
It could be a dramatic afternoon for Wycombe Wanderers.
And a very good afternoon to you. Welcome to a packed St George's Square in Luton Town Centre.
And they're off. Helen, they're heading your way.
But there is a way you can hear it all again.
The anticipation is building up here, let me tell you.
It's now time to speak to the man who made this possible. Would you put your hands together for your manager, Mr. John Still?
Go to bbc.co.uk/Three Counties and click on Listen Again.
And it's finished here at Wycombe Wanderers. They have survived on BBC Three Counties Radio.
Listen again at bbc.co.uk/Three Counties.
Leslie's in Luton. Good morning, Leslie.
Good morning, Ian.
Leslie, what you got for me, boss?
Now, first of all, ghost.
You're a ghost?
No, ghost story.
Ghost story. Okay, yeah. You know they don't exist, don't you, Leslie?
I do know they exist.
Have you got some Ev for me?
Yeah. Well, what it is, when I was home, around 1965,
okay,
I was walking to my grandmother.
Yes.
And I took a shortcut in and come up on this open area.
Uh-oh.
And there was a woman in front of me, and she was standing staring at me.
Yeah.
I've never seen her in the neighborhood, because in that neighborhood is a small community neighborhood and we all know each other.
Yeah, yeah.
And she was staring, and I was staring at her because I've never seen her before.
No, you would stare at her, wouldn't you?
And as I got closer to her, suddenly she vanished.
What?
Yeah, she vanished.
Hey, Leslie.
Right? And
1965, you say?
When I got to my grandmother's house,
yeah,
I told her what I've seen, and she asked me to describe this woman for her, and I did, and she said, "Oh, that woman died a long time ago."
Really? What did she look like, this woman, Leslie?
No, she was very tall,
yes,
very old-looking,
yeah,
with a tartan headscarf and very old-fashioned long dress.
1965, you say, Leslie?
1965. Well, that's when
you were 19 years old.
No, I wasn't. No, at the time, I think I was about 12 or something like that.
Okay, you hadn't had a cheeky little, little drink, a little something.
We Jamaican kids doesn't drink.
What?
No.
When did they change that?
It never existed.
Oh, okay. All right, Leslie. Well,
yeah.
how did it leave you feeling? Did you feel spooked?
No, I didn't, because I didn't know it was a ghost. I just know the person that disappeared in front of me.
Okay, that's very spooky. Leslie, you want to quickly say something about halal meat as well, do you?
Yeah. The nation been eating halal meat for a very, very long time. What type of meat you think you get in an Indian restaurant?
Oh, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, you go to some of the Asian restaurants. Of course, you're going to eat halal meat.
Exactly. So what's the fuss?
Leslie, thank you very much. Not necessarily in an Indian, but you go to some of these foreign restaurants. Of course, you're going to have halal meat. Very few Indian restaurants are Islamic. Point taken. Yes, if that's what you're phoning in to say. But we were eating horse last year. If you're eating halal meat, what's the difference, really? I don't get it. 08459 455 555. A Hertfordshire man is starting a 4-month jail sentence for subjecting his dog to a sickening level of abuse and neglect. Witnesses told St Albans magistrates they'd seen 29-year-old Barry Garside Neville, remember the name? Barry Garside Neville, repeatedly kicking and throwing his dog, burning her with cigarettes and blowing into her nose, leaving her fighting for breath. In fact, the dog was so terrified, she used to wet herself. Well, luckily, he's been banned for life from owning a dog. Justin Dealey's been talking to dog owners this morning.
Well, I'm here with Linda. Linda, you've actually got a staffy here. Does it surprise you that a staffy could be affected in such a way? You've heard some of the facts on this case.
Yeah, it does, actually, because I would think kicking a dog, because they are tough dogs, and he would have to have took some abuse to have acted in that way, be terrified.
Do you think now it's about time that there was some sort of test, so people had to go through a test? If they wanted to own a dog, they would have to prove that they were capable as a person to look after that dog?
Oh, definitely, yeah. You see a lot of youngsters with staffies and they don't look after them. I mean, he's been attacked a few times, but irresponsible people just get out their car, let the dog wasn't even, had a collar on, and it attacked him. It was a vicious attack. So, yeah. They should at least have the dog on the lead.
Who's this with you today, madam?
This is Minxie, my little Jack Russell. She can be a little bit harder than a staff at times, or she thinks she is.
Yeah. Certainly well behaved so far this morning. I mean, you've heard the facts of this particular case. I'll put the question to you. 4 months in prison, is that enough?
No, nowhere near enough. And I hope that he's banned from having any animal ever again.
He is.
Good. But you're right, there should be some kind of test. You have to have a test to drive a car. So why not have a test to own a dog?
Well, Rachel Smith is the investigating officer in the case for the RSPCA. Morning, Rachel.
Morning.
This isn't very typical, is it?
This was one of the first cases that I'd investigated of this, but I think overall over the RSPCA we've seen quite an increase of this type of cruelty.
Why? Why these? I can't get my head around people. We're talking about really unpleasant people this morning. I can't understand why anyone would do this.
I think that probably makes two of us. I definitely don't understand it either. In this particular case, Ruby was one of the sweetest little dogs that I've ever met. So it's very difficult to understand why someone would want to hurt her like that.
What kind of state was she in?
She was mixed when I became involved with her. She was in good weight, so food definitely wasn't an issue. But she had one of the worst skin conditions. She was very sore, very itchy, all over her body. But then the physical trauma, the cigarette burns, she had those on her. She had evidence that there were older cigarette burns on her as well. But I think the most severe issue that she had is the mental trauma.
Yeah.
Her behaviour around people is so timid and so nervous that I don't know what she's gone through. We could never tell. She can't talk to us and tell us what she's gone through, but her mental way that she is with people, she's very nervous, very timid, very scared of people.
Barry Garside Neville, I'm going to keep saying his name so that people remember it, just in case they know him. Did Barry Garside Neville show any remorse?
No, none at all. He remained adamant that the RSPCA had made up these convictions all the way through, up until the point that he was sitting in the dock on May the 1st and they sentenced him. He shook his head all the way throughout when the facts of the matter were given to the magistrates at various different hearings, and he's remained adamant that he's done nothing wrong.
12 weeks he's been sentenced to.
Yep.
No, is it 12? Hang on, how many months is it? 3 months, isn't it? Yes.
Yeah.
So 12 weeks. He'll probably serve 5, 6. Is that enough?
I think obviously it's difficult. The magistrates and the courts decide on the sentencing. I think for me, I was really pleased to get the life ban on all animals.
How do you enforce that, though, Rachel? Because there's nothing to stop him buying it, going down to a local pet shop and buying a pet or getting something out of the back of a newspaper.
No, and I think it's very difficult, but we are investigating more and more breaches of disqualification orders, and a lot of that comes down to information that we are given, whether it's by neighbours or family members or people that know the people that are disqualified, and they phone in and they tell us. And then we obviously will investigate that, and we do investigate that quite seriously, because particularly in this instance, when this gentleman was banned for life for all animals, I would hate to think that he's going to go and get another dog and do what he's done to Ruby to another animal.
It's a very sad story, Rachel. Keep up the good work. Rachel Smith, investigating officer in the case from the RSPCA. Listening to that is Ryan O'Mara, publisher of Canine magazine and a former professional dog trainer. Ryan, when you hear stories like this about Barry Garside Neville kicking, throwing his dog, burning her with cigarettes, how does that make you feel?
Well, unfortunately, it's a story I've heard all too often over the last decade, and I never, like yourself, I can never get my head around it other than to accept the fact that in society we have some very unpleasant, in many cases, psychopathic people, and I think that feeds into my idea that there's some people who should never be allowed to own dogs in the first place.
How do we... I agree. There are some people who just haven't got the mental capacity or the caring nature to own an animal of any kind. How do we do something about that? What can be done?
Well, I think that we should seriously consider the introduction of a dog ownership test. And the two arguments that come back overwhelmingly, as your sort of reel just showed, overwhelmingly the public are in favour of doing something. And the two arguments that people tend to put to me is, one, that the bad guys won't bother with it, and my answer to that is, well, let's not bother with any laws then.
Yeah.
The bad guys don't. And two, how do you implement it? Well, if there's a will to implement it, we can certainly do it, because that's an argument put forward against doing anything. And so if you look at the fact that there are some 6 million dog owners in the UK, and if we were to just, for argument's sake, say a dog ownership test/stroke licence costs £10 per dog per year, which, let's be honest, if you can't afford that, then straight away you shouldn't have a dog anyway, because dogs cost money. You are talking about it being self-funded. And then what we can do is we can stop this completely unregulated supply of dogs to people like this guy, because one has to ask, who thought he was a good person to sell a dog to?
Well, the thing is, though, right, because I could get the local paper, I could go online and I could go and buy a dog this afternoon, straight after this show, without any questions. And without any checks on whether my house is suitable, whether I'm suitable, anything like that.
You're not wrong, and that is the source of the problem. It's the bit that the government is doing nothing about. The supply of dogs is completely unregulated, and if you look at the fact we're in financial hard times at the moment, you're even encouraging people to do it, because what you're saying is, if you've got a dog and you breed it, you sell it for cash that never gets declared to the revenue, by the way, and you can then sell it to anyone. Are you going to be particularly choosy about who buys your dog when you're looking to make £300, £400, and you can do it twice, 3 times a year? And so this is where the problem lies. So you've hit the nail on the head. That's why we need a system in place that puts an audit trail together so we know who's got dogs and who's selling them. Ryan,
we're almost out of time. Can I pick you up on one thing where I think you're incredibly wrong? Dogs. Why are you into dogs, Ryan? It's all about cats. You should know that.
I've got both. I've got
for you.
2 dogs, and I've got a cat that decided to move in with her, and she hasn't gone yet.
That's
and
what they do.
She's beaten my dogs up. So she walked into my house, she battered the dogs, and she said, I'm taking the spare room.
Well, good. She's got a whole... My cat has a whole room. Ryan, good for you. Well done. Thank you very much indeed for that. Ryan O'Mara, publisher of Canine magazine, professional dog trainer, and all-round good egg. 08459 455 555.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the speed sensors on the A1M southbound, looking slow now between junction 4 for Hertford and 2 for Welham Green. Also in Kings Langley, the A41 heavy going as you head towards the M25 from the Hemel Hempstead turn-off. The M25 itself anti-clockwise, very slow between junction 21 for the M1 and 20 for Kings Langley. Then on the M1 itself, London bound, we've got delays between junction 11 for Dunstable Road and 9 for Redbourne. Public transport has no reported problems. I'm Alice Glossop, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 7:30. I'm Simon Oxley. A blind woman who's been the victim of abuse in Stevenage has used a body camera to identify the teenagers responsible. Siobhan Mead is starting workshops in secondary schools in the town to raise awareness of disability hate crime amongst other young people. A 16-year-old boy from Luton is awaiting sentence after being convicted of stabbing a man during a burglary in the town. 47-year-old Tony Abrahams suffered multiple stab wounds when he confronted burglars in his home in Willfield Avenue last November. And the RSPCA has thanked members of the public for coming forward with information after a man was given a 4-month jail sentence for cruelty to his dog in Hertfordshire.
Three Counties Sports.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Manchester City are on the verge of regaining the Premier League title after a 4-0 win over Aston Villa. Manuel Pellegrini's City are 2 points clear of Liverpool with one game to play.
Well, now we can talk about the title. I think that before this game I was just thinking to win Aston Villa. Now, of course, we must win the last game here at home against West Ham. We are not thinking of drawing, we are just thinking on trying to play as we did so far during the whole season here in Etihad. If we play in that way, maybe we can win the title.
And Sunderland's 2-0 win at home to West Brom secured their Premier League safety and all but relegated Norwich. The Dutch coach, Louis van Gaal, has told the BBC he wants to join Manchester United. United are unlikely to announce David Moyes' successor before their final league game on Sunday, but van Gaal is ready to join after the World Cup.
For every coach who takes the job, it's a fantastic challenge, and I hope that I shall be the one, but you have to wait and see.
Luton host Biggleswade Town in the Beds Senior Cup final tonight with a 7:30 kick-off at Kenilworth Road. Cycling's Women's Tour of Britain heads for Bedford today. The second stage starts in Hinckley and is expected in Bedford at around 2 o'clock. There's coverage with Nick Coffer live in Bedford from midday. Andy Murray's through to the third round of the Madrid Masters after a 3-set win over Nicolas Almagro. And Bedford Rugby Club have announced 4 more signings for next season. Props James Curry and Tom Williams join from Leeds and Leicester. Fly half Stephen Jones joins from Newport Gwent Dragons, and back row forward Daryl Dyer makes the move from near neighbours Ampthill. BBC Three Counties News and Sport. The next full bulletin is at 8.
Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties
Here we go.
Radio.
So, 7:30. Thank you, Simon, for that, by the way. Excellent stuff as always. What are we talking about this morning? We are talking about cruelty to animals. Why? I can't understand why anybody would do it. Why would you go and kick a dog and put cigarettes out on it? And how do we stop it happening? Is it... Well, it's not the licence. The licence didn't really do anything, did it? Is it? Should you have to have a test before you own a pet? You're still going to get dodgepots sneaking through the cracks. 08459 455 555. No one has yet been able to tell me why I should be bothered if I'm eating halal meat or not. I don't get it. There's a big story in the front page of the Mail. And they're obviously making this a thing. How big brand shops and restaurants sell ritually slaughtered meat but don't label it. Millions are eating halal food without knowing it. So what's your beef? I don't get it. I don't get why I should be upset, particularly when you go on to find out that the meat is stunned. Most of the meat is stunned. Because the big argument against halal is, it's cruel, slit in their throats, it's cruel, they feel it. Well, they're stunned, like when they get a bolt through their head, so what's the difference? 08459 455 555. Are you as outraged as the Daily Mail is telling you you should be? Or are you kind of like me, shrugging your shoulders, going, yeah, and I don't get it. What's the problem? Give us a call, let me know. Brendan's on the line. Morning, Brendan.
Hi, how are you getting on today?
How am I getting on today? I'm a little bit tired. I'm a bit anxious because I've got a really busy weekend coming up. There's stuff in my life I need to sort out, Brendan, and I'm not quite sure how that's going to go. And I've got a long day and I won't get to bed until about 9:30 tonight. How are you doing?
I've got a concern.
Oh, OK.
Basically, if I'm allowed to...
I'm getting the feeling you weren't genuinely interested in how I was doing, Brendan. I've opened my soul to you, and you've just moved on. Is there anything you'd like to address about what I've told you?
I think you should be all right. Hopefully, I've got disabilities, so I've got many disabilities that do stop me in certain places.
In certain places?
Yes.
Okay. So you're saying that I should look on the bright side of things, man up, and get on with it. At least I've not I've got disabilities that stop me going to certain places.
There's one thing that I've got a concern.
Go on, Brendan. What is it?
You can help.
We can help with anything here. We're BBC Three Counties Radio, for goodness sakes. That's what we do.
Did you see the Beds on Sunday newspaper on Sunday?
I missed it this Sunday because I was in Manchester. What was going on?
They've got a cycle race today.
Oh yeah. It
goes down the High Street in Bedford.
Yep.
This is supposed to go into the road near one of the Nando's in Bedfordshire.
This is the which sells halal meat without you knowing. This is the women's tour, isn't it, today?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's a big, exciting race. If you like bikes, I'm not that bothered. It's going to be. Yes, it's very, very busy. Well, what's your concern about it? Do you want to know the best place to find out where to go and watch?
No. We've got to get the bus number 4.
Yes.
To get round. How do we get past the High Street?
Oh. Well,
that's what no one's looked into.
I haven't got a clue.
No one can answer that.
I don't think anyone can answer this, Brendan. Sorry, I can't help you on this.
Well, unless you look on the Stagecoach website.
What?
Yeah.
Go on.
Women's Cycle Tour, 8th of May 2014. Closures and delays to multiple services on Thursday, 8th of May for this cycle tour. And what they're saying, Brendan, is this. Due to the Women's Cycle Tour in Bedford, we will not be able to serve St Paul's Square, which is the area you're talking about, isn't it, near Nando's?
Yes.
And the closure is due to take place from 10 and last until 5 o'clock tonight. Passengers are being advised to use alternative stops located on St John Street, which is just a bit further up, isn't it? Or Kingsway.
Me and a friend of mine normally get the bus from the bus station.
Right.
Which is the one nearest British Heart Foundation Furniture and Electrical.
You can still do that by the sound of it, yeah.
And then go round. How do we get? What route will it take? Do you have any idea?
Well, it's going to take a longer route. He said there'll be rolling closures and there will be minor delays, and there'll be inconvenience on services, including the one you're talking about, number 4. But it looks as if they'll just take an alternative route.
So it sounds like it will probably work, but you might get dropped off somewhere a little bit different.
Further up the street, so St John Street. That's near the roundabout, isn't it? Near St John's roundabout, if I'm thinking of the right place.
Would that work for you, Brendan?
You'd still need to go into the High Street to go down to St John Street. How would you get round?
Well, they're obviously still dropping off there, so they'll find a way. And if they don't, give us a shout. But I think they've got it covered. They know it's going to happen.
If it's different to what you're saying, then I'll give the radio a ring back.
Do. It's not what I'm saying. It's what Stagecoach is saying.
Well, you're saying it.
I'm reading it out.
Stagecoach have written it, and you are.
I didn't make it up.
No, but Brendan is right. Stagecoach have written it. You are saying it, and you're right, Brendan. If what she's saying is not what happens, then you phone the radio up. Not this radio, maybe Heart.
No, you can ring us back. I'd be interested to find out, Brendan.
To be honest, Brendan, I always find it very, very exciting. I used to get buses a lot. Not quite so much now that I've moved. But when I lived in London, I used to get buses all the time. And one of the most exciting things ever was when the bus went on an alternative route. And I didn't know where it was.
The only problem is, with my sight condition, I don't know what the other roads are.
That's a good point. I would have a word with the driver. And if he's halfway decent, if you say, look, drive, can you give us a shout when we get to the stop nearest to the one I want to get to? If he's halfway decent, he'll give you a shout. Drivers still do that on buses, don't they?
Let me have a look and see where St John Street is in Bedford, and if I'm talking about the right place.
Be with you in a second, Jamie.
Hang on.
We're just sorting Brendan out.
Hang on. St John Street, Bedford. Sorry.
Don't cry, Brendan.
I'm not. I'm just laughing.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were crying. I'm glad you're not crying. You can laugh, but not too much. Let's not get carried away.
I was laughing at you. And funnily enough,
yes,
right. I'll tell you this funny one.
Go on.
While you're looking at that,
yeah.
I've got a computer that can act as a TV set.
What?
What magic is this?
This is insanity, Brendan. Have you been to the future and bought it and popped back?
No, the computer is 06.
Yeah.
It's got a TV aerial built into the back.
Oh, mate, that is nuts. Hang on a second. How bad are your eyes?
I'm visually impaired.
What does that mean? What can't you see?
I can see large print.
Yeah.
I can't see small print.
Can you see the telly?
The TV is a square screen. I can see it right from where I'm standing.
You can see the screen. Can you see what's happening on the screen? Can you see, for example, Susanna Reid's legs?
No, I've got a police officer on the TV.
Oh, but you could if they were there.
Yeah.
Right.
Can you see the police officer's legs?
No, not. I can see his top half.
Okay, okay. I'm assuming that's because of the camera shot. That's not a specific condition of your
it
impairment.
doesn't matter what camera shot it is.
Oh.
But it is always the same.
Okay, you can always see the top half. Catherine is...
The map is up.
Okay, Catherine.
It's going to be a bit of a stroll.
Oh.
But if you stay on the A6 or along the A6,
oh dear,
you'll get to Silver Street, which is where you're heading.
Brendan.
St Paul's Square.
Brendan.
It's just down the road.
Can't you just stay at home today, mate?
I'm going to go into Bedford to go to Newnham Avenue.
What's happening there?
I can't say because if you want to know, we have a get-together every week.
Yeah.
Apart from one of the weeks we have a committee meeting.
Yes.
So
you can't say, but you just said.
We always do have a get-together.
What you're saying is you're not invited. That's why I didn't want to say. It's not secret.
All right, Brendan, I can take a hint. You can just tell me if you don't want me to come. Why don't you just stay at home and watch Copper's Tops on telly?
No, it's just that I'm going to get into Bedford. We're going to see a friend of mine, Mark Webber.
Oh, yeah, Webby.
Who's...
Well, the racing driver?
No.
Oh, other Mark Webber.
No, the other.
Yeah.
He recently moved.
We'll have none of that.
He's recently moved.
Well, Brendan, I tell you what, can you give us a call tomorrow?
Yeah.
Just to let us know you got back home safe.
I'll get home safe because the staff here are very good.
Brilliant. Good. They keep an eye out for you, do they?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Brendan, I wish you the very best luck. Do let us know tomorrow how your journey went and if you managed to get to where you wanted to go and how much longer it took.
All right, I'll try and look at the time when we sit down on the bus, if you know what I mean.
OK. Does Lisa want to speak to Brendan? Is that why you're typing furiously, Kelly Betts? Does Lisa want to speak to Brendan? Yes, please. OK, Lisa, you want to speak... You've got more info for Brendan, have you?
No.
I work in Bedford and I've just drove in and the embankment's closed and so's Newnham Avenue closed today for the cycle race.
Oh, so the street that Brendan wants is closed?
But he's walking it, isn't he?
We also use, if you want to know, we go down Castle Road.
Be with you in a second, Jamie.
Yeah.
Still sorting Brendan out.
But Newnham Avenue's actually closed.
The actual...
Newnham Avenue's closed?
Yeah, I've just drove into Bedford and I always come down the embankment and down Newnham Avenue and I've had to go down Waterloo Road onto Castle Road to come back up.
But would you be on foot, Brendan? Are you going to be on foot or are you planning to try and get some sort of transport?
We normally go from one of the bus stops, which is near the BP, down to the Priory Methodist Church.
Right, on foot?
On foot.
So could he do it on foot, Lisa?
I should imagine so, but if that's where the cycle event's going, it's going to be a bit hard because you're going to have a lot of people there, aren't you?
All this for muscular women on bicycles. I mean, really, it's very unfair. They've not consulted Brendan in the slightest. I'm furious about this now.
No.
Lisa, are you going to go and watch the bicycles?
Oh, no.
No. Why would I don't understand why bicycling is not a spectator sport.
Well, I actually call them Power Rangers on bike. Only Power Rangers are supposed to wear lycra.
Yeah, Power Rangers. You should see Paul Scoynes, our political reporter. Yeah.
Oh.
Jamie, I'll be with you in a second. I'm still sorting Brendan out.
I think we sorted him, haven't we?
No, well, Brendan, have we sorted you out?
Yeah.
Excellent. Lisa, you're very kind. Thank you for calling in.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Brendan, oh, gosh, I don't know if we've achieved anything. Let us know how you get on, won't you?
I will do, Ian.
Thank you, Brendan. You're a good sport. I appreciate that. Jamie?
Morning.
We've sorted Brendan out, but I'm going to have to come to you after the news. Is that all right?
Yeah, that's fine.
Thank you very much indeed. He didn't sound happy, did he? Rightfully so.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The M1 London bound, slow between junction 10 for the Luton Airport Spur Road and 9 for Redbourne. On the M25, anti-clockwise, very slow between junction 21 for the M1 and 19 for Watford. Also got queues now between junction 18 for Chorleywood and 16 for the M40. In Puckeridge, Station Road is closed around the High Street following an accident. And on the speed sensors in Luton, Hatters Way is queuing between the Trawl End Lane as you head towards the centre of town. Public transport has no reported problems. I'm Alice Glossop, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Jamie?
Hi.
Yes, I'm going to come to you after the news. Is that all right?
Okay, yeah.
Thank you, Jamie. 7:46. It's Thursday. It's the, where are we now? The 8th of May. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. A blind woman who's been the victim of abuse in Stevenage has used a body camera to identify the people responsible to the police. A 16-year-old boy from Luton is awaiting sentence after being convicted of stabbing a man during a burglary in town. And in sport, cycling's Women's Tour of Britain heads for Bedford today. The second stage starts in Hinckley and is expected in Bedford at around 2. Jamie?
Yeah, hi.
Yeah, I've got to do Wendy, and then straight after Wendy, it's a trail. Then straight after the trail, it's you. Can you hold on?
Yeah, I can hold on.
You're a good lad, thank you.
Beds, Hearts and Bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Good morning, Wendy here with your weather. We've got cloudy conditions, we've got some rain around as well, and in places it's moderately heavy actually. We've got the wind increasing too, so all in all it's not shaping up to be the greatest day of weather ever. And as we go through the lunchtime period especially, there will be some persistent and heavy rain which will create some spray on the roads, so tricky driving conditions as we go through this afternoon. Go carefully. Towards the very end of the day the rain will move away towards the east, and it might mean that somewhere across Beds, Hearts or Bucks we'll get some sparkles of sunshine, but I really am clutching at straws there. I think really it's going to be a wet afternoon that we'll encounter, and then pretty much cloudy through the rest of the day. Into the night, though, we will have some breaks in the cloud. 1 or 2 showers dotted around towards the early hours, but otherwise it's going to be largely a dry night, and temperatures will be around 10 degrees tonight. Conversely, we should be looking at temperatures around 15 degrees by day today, and that's going to make it feel quite muggy. Tomorrow, similar sort of temperature actually. There will be some sunny spells to enjoy, but we'll have to dodge around 1 or 2 showers as well that could be on the heavy side. For Saturday, wet and windy once again. For Sunday, it's a return to the sunshine and showers. That's how it's looking for now.
BBC Three Counties Radio's big tour of Beds, Hearts and Bucks.
It's all about open skies, lines of wonderful boulevard trees.
Inviting everyone to where you live.
As a whole, it's a lovely place to live.
Everything you need under one roof, yeah.
Just a useful, friendly place. Everything you need's on your doorstep.
And it's just nice. It's nice for going for walks and things like that.
And all this week we're featuring Milton Keynes.
I live in Milton Keynes, work in Milton Keynes.
If you've got a story everyone should hear about, let us tell them about it.
We're not far from anything green, really, if you think about it.
The big tour of Beds, Hearts and Bucks.
It's a place where you can learn and you can do anything in the world.
Milton Keynes is a lovely, friendly, brilliant place to live.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's a good place, but you can't do anything in the world. Jamie's been very patient. Jamie, what have you got for us?
Good morning. I sent through a picture to you guys of something I caught on my phone the other night when walking the dog.
Now, this is the picture that... Kelly, you've put this up on Twitter, haven't you?
At BBC 3CI.
So we've got a picture online. It's of a dark place. And that's it.
Well, it's right. Where it was, I was walking the dog. It's night, 10 o'clock. Took the picture. Didn't catch the picture. The badger's up, but he's not that tough. And I was sitting at the meeting board and I was cleaning out my tattoo. Got and saw that thing down the side. There's no street lights or anything where.
Right, I feel terrible doing it.
Translate?
Try and call him back. Yes, translate, because we made him wait all that long. And Jamie, I'm really sorry, your phone line's breaking up.
It's your fault, that.
No, it's not my fault.
We didn't signal when we put him
It's
through.
Bernard's fault.
Crystal clear.
Bernard? Who's Bernard?
Barnard?
Brendan.
No, it's Brendan's fault, the blind lad.
Clear when I put him through half an hour ago.
It's Brendan's fault. What's his name?
Brendan.
Bernard.
Said it.
It's Brendan's fault. Causing trouble, phoning up, having a go about the women's cycle race, getting Lisa to phone up, kicking off because the bus... banging on, and now he's made Jamie...
Do you want to hear Jamie's story or not?
Jamie, try again.
Yeah.
So, your phone's breaking up. Try again.
Yeah, I was walking the dog.
Here we go, yes.
Saw a badger just over the field.
Yeah.
Like, took the picture, the badger's scarpered, didn't think anything of it. Was in a meeting, so I started sorting out my photos.
Yeah.
Delete that one, and I saw the wispy thing down the side.
Yeah, there's a little bit of smoke down the side, yeah?
It looked interesting, so that wasn't there when I took the picture.
Oh, yeah.
Sure, a bit of smoke about the side of my face. It wasn't cold, so it was my breath. And showed it in a meeting, said like a face, and I showed it to people, and they can see a face.
All right, the line is awful, Jamie. There is a face in the picture, according to Jamie. If you want to see it, at BBC 3CR. All right, that's reminded me.
So what he may not have heard there is
yes.
He didn't realise he was just taking a picture of a badger.
Yeah.
You know, he saw one, thought, oh, I'll have a picture of that.
Yeah.
He blew it up once he saw this wispy thing. So
Yeah.
he blew it up, and then you can see the face.
Right, OK.
That's what we put on Twitter.
I am going to, if I can be bothered tonight when I get home late, I'm going to send you, and we'll put that up on Facebook, a picture I took in Japan at a temple at night of a ghost. Now, I don't believe in ghosts, but this picture freaked me out. It's similar to Jamie's, but better.
Oh.
But better.
You're trumping Jamie's picture.
I'm
You
trumping-
held him on the line for half an hour.
I'm going to trump him!
To what he said, and then you're going to better him.
I'm going to better him, yeah, definitely.
Ghosts don't exist, guys, for goodness sakes. There's a story in one of the papers. Is it in the Mail?
Then what's that behind you?
Yay! There's a story. Is it in the Mail or is it in the Express? Either way, it's complete bullshine. A young lad... Where is it? Oh, there we go. It's the Mail. Little boy who says he went to heaven, then came back. Go to page 24. Let's go to page 24. Let's see what this nonsense is, shall we? Little boy who says he went to heaven, then came back. 4 months after Colton Burpo, that's a name, miraculously survived a life-threatening burst appendix, his parents began to suspect that something rather extraordinary had happened to him. There were signs of change in their son not long after the operation, but it took a while for them to understand the truth. Basically, this lad says he died, he went to heaven, and he came back. It was a dream. It was a dream, right? My boy had a dream the other night that we had a multi-storey rabbit hutch with 20 rabbits in it. Hollywood is not banging on the door trying to make a movie out of it. Kids imagine things. Sick kids imagine things. Sick kids who are having traumatic operations while they're off their mash on painkillers imagine things. He imagined this thing. Partly because, A, there's no heaven. Sorry, guys, that's the truth. And secondly, it's a load of old nonsense. His parents have thought, hey, maybe we can get Colton Burpo, that's his name, and we can get a movie out of this.
You're saying this before you've even seen it. It might be hard Ev.
There's no hard Ev. Nobody, not even Justin Dealey, has managed to come up with hard Ev of ghosts. Dealey? Dealey's disappeared. That's spooky. Or maybe it's a technical. Dealey?
Morning, boss.
Oh! No hard Ev.
You're really starting to annoy me this morning.
Sorry.
I've got to be honest with you.
Wow, I'm only starting to annoy you now, and it's 10 to 8.
All started yesterday morning with mysterious bangs in the building, you claiming that ghosts don't exist.
Yeah, they don't.
I gave you hard evidence yesterday.
You did? No, hang on. You gave us two blokes. One was a Scouse fella who saw a ball in his room.
Yep.
The other was a fella who, to be honest, at 6 o'clock in the morning sounded like he'd had a few, who was going home, and at the top of his stairs he saw a figurine. He was probably just in my nan's house. She's got loads of figurines.
Shut up. People
Balls
know.
can't die.
People know what they have seen. Ghosts do exist. Yes, we haven't got hard evidence, but sometimes things happen that just can't be explained. So this morning, I've gone back out onto the streets to get more evidence for you. Okay? Are you ready for this?
I'm ready to listen to some drunk blokes banging on.
No, you need to believe, okay? And I've taken this to another level for you this morning. I've been talking to O'Neill. Now, he hasn't seen ghosts or spirits, but his girlfriend has.
Oh, so a second-hand story. Oh, OK, that makes it even more. Yeah, I can imagine this. OK, can you bring the next witness up to the murder? Yes, my lord. It's some bloke called O'Neill. Now, he wasn't there, my lord.
Yep.
But his girlfriend was. Oh, we'll take that evidence, yeah.
Has anybody phoned in yet who's seen Snooks in Hemel? The ghost of Snooks.
No one has seen Snooks, no.
Anyway, so his girlfriend has seen ghosts and experienced spirits. Just take a listen to this.
She's actually seen ghosts while she was pregnant, and she was actually possessed by a spirit because somebody actually did some black magic on her.
OK, this is... Do you want me to play the rest of this, Jess?
Yeah.
This fella's for real, is he?
Yeah, he is,
Pregnant. We'll be with you in a second, Nigel. His pregnant girlfriend saw ghosts, was possessed because someone did black magic on her.
Just let the tape play.
And she had to actually go and physically see a religious person to actually resolve the situation.
Wow.
A bit like an exorcism. And, she said, well, there was a man possessing her spirit, and because she was so beautiful, he actually fell in love with her, this spirit. And he was playing in his mind that this is his wife. Yeah, imagine that. Yeah, that was one aspect, which got resolved in the end because she had to go and see a religious person. In fact, she had to leave the country and go back home, and she's from Kenya, and see some religious people, and she expressed everything, explained everything, and when they checked her out and did an analogy, they found out that actually, yeah, she is possessed. I mean, I believe it anyway. Yeah, spirits, ghosts, they all exist. I personally haven't seen,
No.
Maybe that's because...
They don't
I don't
exist?
know. I'm a confident person.
Could be.
I'm not saying you have to be weak to be able to see spirits, but sometimes what happens is, if you're not confident within yourself, then you can be possessed.
Yeah, or you could have a mental illness. That could have been a mental illness, Justin.
No.
Listen, stay
How
there.
much more evidence do you need, for goodness sake?
I need
His
evidence.
girlfriend has been possessed.
Nigel's in Aylesbury. Morning, Nigel.
Yeah, hello there.
Now, Nigel, we spoke to you very, very briefly yesterday. Tell us what you've got for us.
Right, okay. I work theatre in Stevenage. I'd like to invite you and the team, including Justin, and if Jonathan is interested in coming over as well.
Oh, dear.
Come over to the theatre. Come and meet Alice. You're not going to see
Alice?
her, but
Alice?
I don't know what's coming next.
Who on earth is Alice?
Right, Alice is a young girl who was introduced to us about 10 years ago by a medium who was at the theatre.
Yes.
And she is called Alice. She's not really her real name.
No.
She's called Alice because it's her wonderland. And she likes to see what's going on in the theatre.
Nigel, is this not just a little bit of puff and bluster, a little bit of PR, a little bit of show business to create a story for a theatre?
No, because I'm the same as you. I don't believe in ghosts or or people or ghosts. Or,
I believe in people.
Or anything like that. But I was told what was happened is the story's quite long. It's probably too long to talk about on the radio. But I think it would make quite a nice story.
Have you seen this ghost?
No, but
Nigel. Have you been
No,
touched?
you don't see ghosts. You don't see the ghost. I don't believe anybody sees a ghost, but you feel her. I've worked there for 20 years, and I had a feeling every time I went into a certain part of the theatre, there was somebody watching or something was going on.
Do you hear anything?
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
What do you hear? Do it.
You hear you hear
Nigel, I'm going to touch you.
You hear movements, and you hear things that are moving when you're the only person in the building, and I've been in that situation. You go down a certain corridor, and there is a cold chill as soon as you walk down
Cold corridor,
Cold corridors.
Yes. Dealey, you up for it?
I'm only going to go on one condition.
Yeah.
If we can go with Roy Chubby Brown.
Nigel, listen, speak to Catherine. We will sort something out. There's a very kind invitation. Thank you very much. Dealey, we're going to go and see a ghost.
Well, boss, they're everywhere.
For goodness
when are you going to start believing for real? Come on.
When one walks up to me and says, hello, I'm a ghost.
Listen, I found you somebody whose girlfriend has been possessed.
I'm going to... Justin, for goodness sakes. Why we've sustained this nonsense for 2 days. 2 days.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The M25 anti-clockwise, queuing between junction 18 for Chorleywood and 16 for the M40. On the speed sensors between the A1M and the London Coney roundabout, the A414 extremely heavy going at the moment. Also in Aylesbury, the A41 slow going at the Woodland roundabout. Public transport has no reported problems. I'm Alice Glossop, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Alice. Coming up, we'll talk more about this halal meat story. I don't understand why I should be bothered by it. You've been buying halal meat. New Zealand lamb, pretty much most of it is halal. Why are you bothered? And can someone tell me why you do it halal styly?
Local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 8 o'clock. I'm Simon Oxley. The headlines: blind woman films abusers in Stevenage, thousands of jobs to go at Barclays, and Luton man stabbed by burglars thought he was going to die.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
A blind woman who's been the victim of abuse in Stevenage has used a body camera to identify the teenagers responsible. Siobhan Mead is starting workshops in secondary schools in the town to raise awareness of disability hate crime amongst other young people.
They were just horrified that this actually happens on their doorstep, and they have reassured me that they're going to talk to other friends, people that they hang around with, and to positively move forward in terms of coming together as a community.
Barclays Bank has announced that it's cutting 19,000 jobs over the next 3 years. The sharpest cuts will be in the investment banking division, where 7,000 jobs will go. A large proportion of the job losses will be in the UK, where the bank's branch network will be significantly scaled back. A 16-year-old boy from Luton is awaiting sentence after being convicted of stabbing a man during a burglary in the town. The teenager, who can't be named for legal reasons, was cleared of attempted murder but convicted of wounding with intent. His two accomplices have not been caught. 47-year-old Tony Abrahams suffered multiple stab wounds when he confronted the burglars in his home in Willfield Avenue last November. The attack happened in front of his wife and one of his daughters. Speaking after several weeks in hospital, Tony said he thought he was going to die.
Looking at their faces, and they're crying. But obviously my oldest daughter, Natalie, she wasn't there at the time. Basically thinking that if this is the way it's going to end, then at least I've got my girls with me, but Natalie wasn't there, and sort of just thinking it'd be nice if she was here, not involved in everything going on, but if she'd have made it to the house, it would have been fine.
The RSPCA has thanked members of the public for coming forward with information after a man was given a 4-month jail sentence for cruelty to his dog in Hertfordshire. 29-year-old Barry Garsard Neville, formerly of Welwyn Garden City, was also given a lifetime ban from owning dogs after repeatedly kicking his Staffordshire Bull Terrier and burning the animal with cigarettes. Tesco and Marks & Spencer have confirmed that they're selling halal lamb from New Zealand without saying how it has been killed. Muslim and Jewish leaders are calling for all shoppers to be told how animals have been slaughtered. Bedfordshire Police are relocating Ampthill Police Station to nearby Flitwick. It's part of a money-saving review of police buildings by Commissioner Ollie Martins. The new station in Flitwick will be in the Hawthorns. In sport, Manchester City are on the verge of regaining the Premier League title after a 4-0 win over Aston Villa. City are 2 points clear of Liverpool with 1 game to play. And cycling's Women's Tour of Britain heads for Bedford today. The second stage starts in Hinckley and is expected in Bedford at around 2 o'clock. The weather: cloud and rain spreading west across the region and lasting most of the day. A maximum temperature 15 degrees Celsius. And you can get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/3 counties.
BBC Three Counties Radio's big tour of beds, hearts and bucks.
Nice, yes. Neighbours, very nice. Everybody helps each other.
So, yeah, we're not far from anything green, really, if you think about it.
All this week, we're featuring Milton Keynes.
But Milton Keynes is a lovely, friendly, brilliant place to live.
It's a place where you don't just come to shop. You know, you can come here and just chill out with friends and family.
It's all about where you live. The Big Tour. BBC Three Counties Radio.
And suddenly it's 4 minutes past 8. These first 2 hours are flying by. For me, anyway. For you, they could be an interminable drag. I don't know. So, what have we got before JVS at 9 o'clock? Lots. Stevenage woman hits back at hate crime. A Welwyn man jailed for animal cruelty. And goodness knows what Justin Dealey's out talking about. I mean, someone needs to have a stern chat with that gentleman. 2 days we've been banging on about ghosts. Ghosts! Also, your reaction to this story that the Mail is really trying to make out of nothing, I think. Front page. Millions are eating halal food without knowing it. What's your beef? I don't get the furore. I don't get it. Try and explain it to me. And also, if you eat halal or kosher, because they're both done in very similar ways, why? What's the thinking behind it? I don't get it. Why has the chicken got to be facing in a certain direction? What does that mean? It's nonsense, isn't it? It's nonsense, really, isn't it? Isn't it? You're going to eat it. Does it matter which direction it's facing? Which prayer is being said? You wouldn't know if you only ate halal meat. Would you know if you tasted something that you were told was halal but actually wasn't? Would you know the difference? Of course you wouldn't. Facebook.com/BBC3CR. You can send me a text, 81333, start your text 3CR, or you can give me a call, 08 459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Derek's in Newport Pagnell. Morning, Derek.
Morning.
Derek, what have you got for us?
Well, it's your story on halal meat.
Yes.
You've covered the one about the dog that was cruelly treated.
Yes.
The thing with halal meat, you don't actually know whether you're eating halal meat that's been stunned before death or whether it's been killed before being stunned.
OK, first of all, why is that an issue to you?
Because it's I think it's animal cruelty. It's quite clear from what some organisations are saying that the animal does go through quite some trauma because it's bled to death.
And stunning an animal and putting a bolt through its brain, that's not cruel?
It's immediate. It's not a long, lingering death.
OK. I can tell you...
Yep.
Which ones do stun them. Would that make a difference to you?
Well, if I went into an Indian restaurant and bought an Indian meal, it wouldn't tell me which ones, where it came from.
OK. Well, then don't go to Indian restaurants. If it's such a big deal, I can tell you...
No. I'm now wondering whether I should transfer to Indian vegetarian meals. I like my Indian food.
Oh, so do I.
Yeah.
OK, do you like Kentucky Fried Chicken?
No, not really.
OK, do you like Pizza Express?
Not really.
Nando's?
Not anymore.
Why?
Feel uncomfortable eating in there.
Why?
I don't like the environment.
Really? Of Nando's?
Yeah.
OK.
Yeah.
Ask Pizza?
Don't eat them.
Oh, flipping it. Subway?
No, don't go near them.
Slug and Lettuce?
No.
Where do you go?
Las Iguanas.
Right. I don't know about them.
Oh, you don't, do you? Galloway's over at Woven Sands.
The thing is, most of this meat, Derek, most of these places, it is stunned. So, does that make a difference to you, knowing that it's stunned and then killed halal style?
It does to me.
OK.
You know, you've just had an article on there about animal cruelty and should people have tests before they get a dog.
Yeah.
That's an impossible thing to do because you get a dog as a puppy. If you've never had one before, you don't know how to bring it up. The thing is, it's the cruelty side of it. You know, the tradition in this country has been for years to ensure that any animals killed for food are killed humanely.
Because now, I've been a vegetarian for 25 years. I think I'm pretty much a meat eater now. Well, I had steak yesterday, so I must be.
I'm actually thinking of going the other way, to be honest with you.
Why? That's interesting.
I don't know. It's not that. I don't know. It's just, you know, you read these things about me. I'm overweight.
Yeah.
And I've been told that red meat's bad for me.
Apparently so.
I don't really like meat that's raw anyway. I prefer it well done.
Derek, listen, thank you very much indeed. 08459 455 555. Derek, I would suggest, is a slightly unusual case. But as someone who has just got back into eating meat, if it's being stunned, I could not care less if it's done halal. Does that make me cold? Does that make me a traitor? If it's been stunned before and it's unaware of what's going on, slit its throat, put a bolt through its head. They both sound pretty unpleasant to me. So should it make a difference? And again, if you eat halal meat, why does it bother you? Why does it bother you how it's killed? If it doesn't bother me how it's killed, why should it bother you? Why should it bother you what direction the lamb is facing and what prayer is being said? I don't get it. Be honest, it's a nonsense, isn't it? Isn't it? Halal and kosher, it's a nonsense, isn't it, really? 08459 455 555. We've got some texts on that. We'll do that in a little bit. I want to go back to this story we've been talking about all morning. A blind woman from Stevenage got so worn down by bullies taking advantage of her disability, she decided to fight back. And she did it by wearing a body camera. It's genius, this, I think. It would seem Siobhan Mead's experience isn't unique. According to the Buckinghamshire Disability Service, most disabled people are targeted at some point in their lives. But the vast majority suffer in silence. Andrew Clark is from Buds, which is planning to launch a new hate crime reporting page on their website. Morning, Andrew. Very quickly, what is Buds?
Buds is a disability charity run by disabled people for disabled people.
We've heard from two people this morning with different disabilities who've both been victims of the hate crimes. I'm guessing they're not alone.
Absolutely not. I mean, Buds is, as I just said, an organisation of disabled people, so we bring our own experiences and the experiences of the people that we work with. And it is a very common thing, people being shouted at when they put their car into a blue badge space. Myself, I was knocked to the ground. I walk with a stick. I was knocked to the ground in a department store by someone who just said, "Get out of the way, spastic." That was a completely unprovoked thing in a perfectly reasonable environment.
We're all
whenever you talk to a disabled person, sooner or later the stories will come out.
We're all sitting here slightly slack-jawed at your story. Someone said that to you and pushed you out of the way.
Absolutely, yes. I was actually waiting not obstructing the corridor, just standing there, and someone walked up to me deliberately, knocked me down and said, "Get out of the way, spastic," and kept going.
Not that this should be relevant, but it intrigues me. How old was this person, would you say?
Oh, in his 50s, I would have thought.
Okay, so
Big guy,
old enough to know a heck of a lot better.
Absolutely. This is a lot of the casual abuse, a lot of the what you would call the antisocial behaviour is teenagers that look for vulnerable people to pick on. And to be honest, if they weren't picking on a vulnerable person, they'd be picking on somebody else.
Yes, and that's not to justify it, but I can kind of I have a bit more understanding about why they do it.
You can put it in a box in your mind and understand it as young people who've got those attitudes and who need to be educated out of them. But then the rest of it is grown-up people or adults who have a really deep-seated prejudice and who have a loathing for disabled people.
I'd like to be generous, Andrew, and suggest it's fear. But that's still not, even if it were, that's still not a good enough case for a bloke in his 50s to do that.
Fear is a big issue. Fear, I mean, people are generally scared of difference. And disabled people are different, and they're anxious about perhaps their own health, they're anxious about their relatives' health, and they sort of project down to somebody else. But a lot of them, I'm afraid, is malice, is that they like the idea that they can pick on somebody, weaker and more vulnerable than them. And I have to say, we were all cheering when we heard of this lady in Stevenage with the body camera. What an act of genius
It is genius, isn't it? A blind lady's getting bullied, so she puts on a body camera and films it.
Absolutely.
Wonderful.
I know of a similar case where a lady that worked in an office, a blind lady that lived in an office, and she suspected that people were pulling faces behind her back and giving her tea mugs that were filthy because she couldn't see. And so she actually used a webcam on her camera, on her laptop, to do the same sort of thing.
I'm hearing as well you've had stories reported of wheelchair users having their tyres slashed. Is that right?
That's correct, yes. We've had cases that we're looking into now in Buckinghamshire where wheelchair users, where they've left their wheelchairs for a particular reason, have had their tyres slashed. And that looks like, again, another quite deliberate attack.
I mean, my mum's in a wheelchair. One of the few benefits, there are quite a few benefits, but one of the benefits of my mum being disabled and living in a care home is my boys, who are 4 and 2, they've grown up with it. So they are not afraid of people in wheelchairs. They're not afraid of people who sit there and can't speak properly or drool. They might say, "Daddy, what's wrong with that person?" And then we'll have a conversation about how they've got something wrong with them, and so they've been confronted with that from birth. So it's not a shock to them, and maybe we need some kind more of integration from an early age.
You put your finger on it there, because one of the problems we do have in schools, and I think I obviously have to speak particularly from the Buckinghamshire point of view, is that so many schools are inaccessible. If you're a disabled parent, you'll know this, the difficulty of getting in for parents' evenings. There's never a blue badge car park, or very rarely is there a blue badge car park set aside for you. But we do find far too many cases where children who have a relatively moderate physical or sensory disability, but don't have any particular educational needs, who could be in a mainstream school with everybody else, and they're actually ending up being put into special schools.
So the segregation, segregated from an early age.
So children don't mix. And then the other thing is, of course, we have this special educational needs. I mean, we would much prefer to call it additional needs rather than special, because special is a bit of a stigma.
Yeah.
But if a child has any form of learning difficulty, then they're somehow different. They have different lessons, different people. They're segregated inside the school. And so you're right that there is, right from education, there is this process of separating disabled people, and it's probably not done with a malicious intent. No. It's probably done by well-meaning people who think that they're doing the best but what they're actually doing is starting to reinforce these messages that disabled people are different. Actually, we're people first, disabled second.
We all know you're sponges, Andrew, who are bleeding the state dry. Listen, if people want to find out about Buds, the website, what's the address? Where can they go?
The address is www.buds.org.uk.
Andrew, I appreciate your time. Thank you for sharing, some quite horrific stories. I can sort of get my head around why a 14-year-old might do it. Kind of. Kids like showing off, they like shouting, they like looking for change. A 50-year-old bloke doing and saying what he did to Andrew, speechless. BBC Three Counties Radio, let's get the travel news now. Here's Alice.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The M1 London bound slow going between junction 10 for the Luton Airport Spur and 9 for Redbourne. Also on the M25 anti-clockwise, very slow between junction 21 for the M1 and 16 for the M40. In Puckeridge, Station Road is closed around the High Street following an accident. Also in Bedford, we just had reports of an accident on the Ampthill Road heading south. The southbound carriageway is partially blocked between the Britannia Road and the A421. And then later we've got the Women's Tour of Britain cycle race starting at 11 in Bedford. The embankment is closed from the junction of the High Street to Bushmead Avenue. Also, various roads along the route will have traffic held during this afternoon, including routes via Lutterworth and Sywell. Public transport has no reported problems. I'm Alice Glossop, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Alice. 8:17. It is Thursday, the 8th of May. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. A blind woman who's been the victim of abuse in Stevenage has used a body camera to identify the people responsible to the police. A 16-year-old boy from Luton is awaiting sentence after being convicted of stabbing a man during a burglary in the town. And in sport, cycling's Women's Tour of Britain heads for Bedford today. The second stage starts in Hinckley and is expected in Bedford around 2 p.m. Woo!
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Ever wondered what it takes to become a sports reporter?
Winters gets the goal for Oxford City. It was a lovely touch by Darren Bondi.
The BBC's Kick-Off trainee scheme can give you the chance to find out. You could be joining our local sports teams working 2 days a week over an 8-week summer placement. You'll record reports and interviews, research stories and write for our sports website.
But you're guaranteed league football next season and it was a terrific performance.
There are places all over England, but competition will be tough. All the details and terms and conditions are online at bbc.co.uk/careers. Final whistle for applications Sunday, the 11th of May. The BBC Kick-Off Scheme. If you want to work in sports broadcasting, there's all to play for.
Hey. I hope you're listening to that, Jonathan. If you want to work in sports broadcasting, there's all to play for.
To be honest, I think it's a slim chance.
Come on.
Isn't it?
Well,
I've tried.
Yes.
I've had my fair share of attempts at trying to do sporting interviews.
We've all made the effort at doing it.
It's very clear that I know absolutely nothing, so I give up.
Yeah, so you're not going to go for that job?
No, I'm not.
Okay, well.
I'll leave it to the sport. There are so many sporty people. Leave it to them.
The thing is, as well, Luke and Jeff, who are the sporty people here, and they are excellent at it, but they've got a real kind of... there's a lot of testosterone in the office when they're up there. They're kind of like throwing balls at each other and high-fiving and being a little bit sexist. Chest bumps, there's lots of chest bumps, you know that.
Really? Oh, I don't like all that.
Lots of cheering.
No, you see, they wouldn't do that around me.
Would they not?
No, because I wouldn't like that.
They know not to. What's on your show this morning?
Well, coming up on the big phone in this morning at 9, does it bother you that you may be eating halal meat? I've heard you having your discussion this morning.
Yes.
Tesco and Marks & Spencer have confirmed that they sell halal lamb from New Zealand, which is not clearly labelled. Already this week, Pizza Express has made the headlines as they revealed all of their chicken is halal, although it is stunned before slaughter, apparently.
Yep.
This week, the week before last, Subway, if you remember, they received negative press as they admitted that their franchise owners could choose to sell only halal meat in areas where lots of Muslims live. However, like Pizza Express, they confirm that their meat is stunned before a knife is used on the animal's throat. Well, it would certainly appear, and there's a bit of momentum, isn't there, at the moment with this halal debate, it would appear that many of us are eating halal meat without realising it.
Yeah.
But does it bother us? It doesn't bother you at all?
Now I'm back on the meat. If it's stunned, then no. If it's stunned and it's having its throat slit or having a bolt through its head, I don't see the difference.
But how can you be sure that the animal was stunned to the same level as standard meat? Because the whole point of halal is that the animal must still be alive when you slit its throat.
Okay.
Sorry, it's not a very savoury discussion to have first thing in the morning, but it's reality for those of us that eat meat. That's the fundamental.
But the stun doesn't kill them.
Well, it can do sometimes, you see.
Right.
I mean, if you had a bolt shoved through your head, chances are you might die quite quickly.
Yes.
Now, if the animal is dead before you slit its throat, it then cannot be called halal. So the animal has to still be alive.
Yeah.
So how can you be sure that it's been stunned to the same level as non-halal meat?
I have to take their word for it. I don't know. I don't know for sure.
See, when I've spoken to people who've worked in abattoirs before, they've said, I've had people phoning me up and they've said, you know, the halal meat, the kosher meat, it's not very nice to watch.
Yeah.
It's really not very nice to watch. Now, I don't know whether that's true because I've never been in an abattoir. I can only rely on what people have called me and told me.
I'm sure it's hideous to watch, but
ultimately, do we want to eat it if we don't have a religious requirement to eat it? You know, I don't have a religious requirement to eat halal meat or kosher meat. I would far rather eat meat that was slaughtered in accordance with UK law.
Yep.
And it's totally unnecessary for me to have any meat blessed or anything else. I just want that animal to have had the least amount of suffering possible before it meets its maker.
I want someone to phone up before 9 o'clock and explain to me why eating halal meat or kosher meat is so important to you. Because it's a nonsense, really, isn't it? That the meat's got to be facing in a certain direction and have a certain prayer set. I mean, I don't. If someone could explain that to me.
Well, I think from discussions I've had about this in the past, I think, like so many things with religion, if you go back in time, there was probably a rationale behind it.
Yeah, they didn't have fridges.
Exactly. They didn't have fridges, and ultimately they didn't want people going out, finding a dead animal and eating it, because you'd probably die, because it would make you very ill. You don't know what the animal's died of. So it's very important that, you know, when you're going to kill an animal to eat it, it must still be alive at the time that you kill it, and then that way you're given some kind of guarantee that the meat you're eating is not poisoned or dying of a deadly disease. But of course, in this day and age, is that really necessary?
No.
But religion would still dictate that it is.
Well, religion, still says you should have the end of your willy chopped off because years and years ago people grew up in really sandy places and it was bad for them. Now, it makes no difference. You still have to do it. Nonsense.
Well, from 9 this morning, I'd love your views. Does it bother you that you may be eating halal meat? 08459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Now, we've been talking this morning about dog cruelty. How long do you think you get for bullying someone to the point of them wetting themselves whenever they see you, or burning them with cigarettes, or kicking them and throwing them across the room? Well, what if I told you that the victim was an animal? Does that make a difference? 29-year-old Barry Garside Neville, remember that name? He's not a particularly pleasant person. He's from Welling. Is starting a 4-month jail sentence for doing exactly what I've been describing to his dog, Ruby. Well, we've been talking about whether cases like this show we need to start testing people before they're allowed to own a dog. Justin Dealey has been out speaking to dog owners this morning.
Well, Catherine, you're here with your dog this morning. You've heard about this case. I mean, what's your reaction as a responsible dog owner?
What can I say? To me, it's appalling. Absolutely. I don't know why they have animals. I don't understand it unless it's, they want to control something. They can't control another human being, so they control a dog. Yeah.
How do we stop this from happening? Ian's talking this morning about a dog test. How do we ensure that this type of animal cruelty never happens to a staffy or any other dog?
You give them longer sentences, I'm sorry, or you give them more education. But they say education, but there's some people you can't do anything with.
4 months in prison for this man. What do you think would be a correct sentence?
It's not long enough. I'd give him a couple of years. I would. I'm sorry. I think it's not long enough. They think, 4 months. What's 4 months? You'd give them more than that for a human being. And these animals, they can't fight back. They've got to have us to look after them. So, to me, that's what I would do. I would give them longer sentences. The law is not strict enough, and I would ban them for life for keeping a dog.
David Bowles is the RSPCA's Head of Public Affairs. David, how do we sort this out and stop this happening?
Good morning, Ian. It's primarily about education, of course. I mean, the RSPCA would always want anybody that is taking on an animal has a responsibility for that animal to make sure that they give it the right food, water, the environment, and that they walk it properly, etc. Obviously, in this horrific case, the person did not do any of that, which is why they rightly got successful successfully prosecuted. The RSPCA has also been asking for tougher sentencing on people such as the person in your case, who gratuitously was cruel to a dog. I think he knew exactly what he was doing, whereas a lot of the people that the RSPCA come across who are being cruel to the dog or not caring for it properly is primarily due to ignorance. We very rarely come across deliberate cruelty like this particular case.
Oh yeah, Barry Garside Neville. I mean, he's burning cigarettes on his dog and throwing it against walls. He knew what he was doing, and I guess there is no way to stop people like that, bullies like that, getting a dog. However much you tighten the law, I was saying earlier, I could go online and pick up a dog at 10 o'clock this morning if I wanted to.
Absolutely, and the horrific thing is that as we've got new methods of getting dogs, such as the internet, such as website pages such as like Gumtree or Pre-Loved. As you say, you can, if you want to, you can go on now and get a dog in a couple of hours' time, hand over not small amounts of money, £500, £600, and get something that is a living, breathing thing which you have no education or ability to know what to do with. Now, if you were going to research, saying, getting a new TV set, we think that people actually do more research on that than they do getting a dog. So is it any surprise that we have the cases such as the one in your area, or indeed the fact that our research has found that 20% of people don't have their puppies after 6 months because they don't know what to do with them.
Do we need to kind of think strategically about this, David? Do we need to kind of go really tough and say, if you're thick, you shouldn't be allowed to have a dog? Only people with a certain amount of intelligence, who have the intelligence and the empathy to look after a living thing, should be allowed a dog.
Well, that's already essentially what the Animal Welfare Act says. It says that you shouldn't, if you have an animal, you have a responsibility for that animal, you have a responsibility to feed, water it, keep it in the right environment, etc. So that legislation is there. The Animal Welfare Act works extremely well. The RSPCA was heavily involved in getting the law changed in 2006, and we're very pleased with the legislation. Hopefully, in the next couple of years, we will get new rules coming in, making it compulsory to microchip your dog. Now, we think that's good. We would like to go further and have dog licensing. But what that is essentially saying to a person is, if you have an animal, you have to, therefore, identify it as your animal. And if you do something wrong to that animal, then you have to take the consequences.
Tougher sentencing as well?
Yeah, the RSPCA believes that. I mean, at the moment, we've got a six-month sentencing, and usually for good behaviour, people are out within a month, 2 months, and we don't think that's long enough. We don't think it's a deterrent. So we've been working hard with the government for the more gratuitous issues, like the case that you had, where the person deliberately stubbed out cigarettes on a dog, to get tougher sentencing. We would like to see it doubled to a year, and we think that would send a very powerful deterrent message back.
David, thank you very much for your time. David Bowles, RSPCA's Head of Public Affairs. Keep up the good work. I've got the answer. You can't sell dogs or animals to thick people. It's as simple as that, isn't it?
How do you judge whether someone's thick or not?
Oh, you can tell. You can tell by looking at them these days.
Well,
you can, come on. It would be slightly difficult, but they have to have a certain level of intelligence to have empathy and understanding that what they've got, it's not a Tamagotchi, it's not an Xbox, it's actually a living, breathing thing that has feelings.
Should there be a series of questions including one trick question?
What would the trick question be?
I don't know. I just remember...
Your dog gets on your nerves. Do you A, tell it off? Do you B, kick it in the ghoulies? Or do you C, ignore it?
I don't know. We could find something, a trick question that would catch out someone who didn't have the best motives.
Thank you. There's something in it. I think it's just if you're thick, you're not allowed a pet. You're not allowed a pet. You're not allowed a rabbit. You're not allowed a cat. You're not allowed a dog. If you're thick, you need to have a certain intelligence to do this. Go on.
Should you have to, like you say, look after some sort of robo-dog beforehand? You know,
baby.
Like they have robo-babies in schools.
They do, don't they? It monitors how much they're carried, how much they're hugged, how much they're shaken.
OK, so we make a robo-dog.
An IBO. Japan's already made them.
OK.
Yep.
And it monitors its treatment over the space of, let's say, 2 weeks.
And it also listens and records your conversation. And if it's found out you're having thick conversations, you're not allowed a dog.
I think we might be guilty of that sometimes.
I think we may be. 08459 455 555. Alice!
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The M25 anti-clockwise very slow between junction 21 for the M1 and 16 for the M40. Also at the Kidneywood roundabout, the London Road and Airport Way, both extremely heavy as you head towards the motorway, approaching the area with the roadworks in. Also in Bedford, the A6 southbound is partially blocked between the Britannia Road and West End after an accident. The Women's Tour of Britain cycle race starts at 11 in Bedford today, so the embankment is closed from the junction on the High Street to Bushmead Avenue. Also from 11, the High Street itself will be closed from the embankment to its junction with St Peter's. Public transport has no reported problems. I'm Alice Glossop, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Alice, thank you. Ian on Twitter's on fire this morning. How do you tell if someone's thick? Ask them whether they believe in ghosts or not.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 8:30. I'm Simon Oxley. A 16-year-old boy from Luton is awaiting sentence after being convicted of stabbing a man during a burglary in the town. The teenager, who can't be named for legal reasons, was cleared of attempted murder but convicted of wounding with intent. His two accomplices have not been caught. Barclays Bank has announced it's cutting 19,000 jobs over the next 3 years. A large proportion of the job losses will be in the UK, where the bank's branch network will be significantly scaled back. And a blind woman who's been the victim of abuse in Stevenage has used a body camera to identify the teenagers responsible. Siobhan Mead is starting workshops in secondary schools in the town to raise awareness of disability hate crime.
Three Counties Sports.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Manchester City are on the verge of regaining the Premier League title after a 4-0 win over Aston Villa. City are 2 points clear of Liverpool with one game to play. And Sunderland's 2-0 win at home to West Brom secured their Premier League safety and all but relegated Norwich. FA Chairman Greg Dyke will today reveal the findings of his investigation into the future of the game in England. He could recommend introducing B teams of the top side somewhere in the league system. Former England defender Danny Mills is on the FA Commission.
B teams certainly will be on the agenda. I think everybody knows that as by now. But it's not a B team league as such. This is effectively a four-pronged attack on what we believe to be the way forward to improve English football. And all four prongs have to work together. You know, there is an element where if you take one away, it doesn't work.
The Football League playoffs start this evening with the first leg of the Championship semi-final between Brighton and Derby. And Luton host Biggleswade Town in the Bed Senior Cup final tonight. 7:30 kick-off at Kenilworth Road. Cycling's Women's Tour of Britain heads for Bedford today. The second stage starts in Hinckley and is expected in Bedford at around 2 o'clock. There's coverage with Nick Coffer live in Bedford from midday. And Bedford Rugby Club have announced 4 more signings for next season. Props James Curry and Tom Williams join from Leeds and Leicester. Fly half Stephen Jones joins from Newport Gwent Dragons, and back row forward Daryl Dyer makes the move from near neighbours Ampthill. BBC Three Counties News and Sport. The next full bulletin is at 9.
Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
OK, last 30 minutes of the show. What have we covered so far? We've talked about abuse dished out to disabled people of varying disabilities. Incredible. People having their wheelchair tyres slashed. Got no idea what Catherine's miming there, but it's thoroughly unpleasant. What on earth are you doing?
Nothing.
OK, look, vulgar.
It was a cooking technique. I'll explain it later.
OK, thank you. Was it you beating your beef?
Rubbing it, yes.
OK. We've heard about wheelchair users having their tyres slashed, blind people being shouted at, a fella with a walking stick being pushed to the floor by a bloke in his 50s saying, "Get out of my way, spastic." I know. I was speechless when I heard that. 08459 455 555. We're also talking about this. Well, I think it's the Daily Mail is trying to create furore where there isn't any. Front page of the Daily Mail. Millions are eating halal food without knowing it. OK, what's your beef? Bobby's in Bedford. Morning, Bobby.
Morning, Ian.
Bobby, does it bother you?
It does a bit. I think there's a couple of points here. One is about cruelty. And I think, you made the point about people don't know what it looks like, and if people really want to do that, they can go onto the internet, they can have a look for themselves and make their own judgment and call on that. My point really is about people that have the choice, or not the choice as the case may be. There are certain faiths out there that are forbidden to eat halal meat. And if they don't get the choice, how can they arguably make that choice moving forward? I mean, if you walk around certain restaurants, on the outside you will see a sign that says halal. Or actually, it's a sign that you can't read, but it's visible. And you can make that choice. You can either choose to go into that establishment or go somewhere else.
Are you a member of a faith, Bobby, that can't eat halal?
Yes, I am.
What faith is that?
It's Sikhism.
Okay. Why are you prevented from eating halal?
It's the way that it's killed. The meat is killed is taken to be cruel. So
Okay.
there is a method of killing, which is one swipe of the sword. That's the way an animal should be killed.
Sorry?
You're going to kill it. Killing an animal isn't the right thing to do in the world, and there's many Sikhs out there that will disagree with it, and they'll say, actually, you shouldn't be eating meat at all. But that's another discussion.
But the meat here, in nearly all of these instances I have in front of me that are reported in the Mail, they're stunned.
Yes.
So what's the difference between that and the accepted Western way of killing animals? There's no difference, is there?
Well, there is a difference. If you stun an animal, doesn't mean that it's immediately killed, does it?
It stuns it. Yeah, it means it's stunned. So it's no crueler to stun an animal and then slit its throat than it is to stun an animal and put a bolt through its head. It's unaware of both. It's unaware of both activities.
You and I don't know what it feels like, do we?
No, we don't know what it feels like, Bobby. But it's stunned. So, but okay, if we don't know what it feels like, then we don't know what it feels like to be stunned and to have a bolt through its head. But you're saying that's not cruel.
I'm saying that's the lesser of two evils, is what I'm saying. Yep, so people should have the choice whether they choose to eat an animal that's been killed in that fashion or not.
I don't understand why they should have a choice. I mean, the religious argument... let's be honest, Bobby, the whole religious thing about the way we kill or don't kill animals is based on there not being fridges centuries ago. It's all a load of old nonsense. Why does it matter which way the animal is facing and what is said while it's being killed? For me, the argument is the cruelty issue of it. And if it is unconscious while the act is being carried out, I couldn't care less how the rest of the slaughter is continued.
It's people having the choice. It's no different than eating horse when it's been labelled as beef. If you're eating an animal, you should have the choice as to finding out how it's been killed. Straightforward.
I don't understand why, Bobby. I'm trying to grasp why someone should have a choice in how it's being killed. If it is not. If they are both... I'm struggling for the language here. If they're both unaware of how they've been killed, both types of animals, if neither one is causing more pain, what's the difference? What's the difference? There is none.
There is. Absolutely there is.
What is the difference?
The difference is people having a choice...
No. Forget the choice for a second. Forget the choice for a second. If there is no difference in the pain the animal feels, then what's your problem with it?
You don't know that. How do you know that, Ian? You tell me.
Because it's Bobby...
It's going to feel pain for 2 minutes or it's going to feel pain for 30 seconds.
No, it's not going to... Well, no, but that's not the argument, Bobby. You're not listening. It's been stunned in both counts. So, if we believe what the stunners say... Page 3 stunners, if we believe what the stunners say, it's feeling no pain in either count, so there's no difference.
Stunning is a different kettle of fish. Stunning, you've brought up the topic of stunning. I don't know whether I agree with that or not.
But stunning, it sounds like you shouldn't be eating meat. You shouldn't be eating meat.
Sorry?
It sounds like you shouldn't be eating meat if you're not sure about stunning, because that's what happens. Stunning is what happens in when we eat Western-style meat, for want of a better phrase. That, in theory, knocks the animal out so it doesn't feel the bolt going through its head. It's also happening in the majority of these halal instances. It's being stunned so it doesn't feel the pain when it's having its throat slit.
Right, OK, so we should have the choice then to go to an abattoir that doesn't do stunning. There you go.
But why? That doesn't do stunning?
Yeah, why not?
But they all... I don't understand your point, Bobby. Why would you want to go to an abattoir that doesn't do stunning?
Because then you know that the animal's been killed straightforwardly without any animal ritual that's been said or any...
But I don't know... No,
before it, you just kill it.
Yeah, but no Westerns... I'm getting confused by your point. Then it would feel the pain, Bobby, of being killed.
Right. But it's going to feel pain whether you stun it or you don't.
You're
hell-bent on this stunning point.
The stunning point, no, because the stunning stops it feeling the pain, Bobby. That's what I'm...
How do you know?
I don't know, Bobby. I don't know. You're right, I don't know. I've never been stunned in an abattoir and then had my throat slit or had a bolt through my head. You're right, I don't know. Bobby sounds like he's got issues with meat and shouldn't be eating
I
meat.
think he made a fair point. And we kept him hanging on for a good 5 minutes on the other side of the news, so...
Well, it doesn't mean he can come on and go around in a circle.
Why not?
We should keep everyone hanging on. Make them hungry for the conversation. Steve's on the line. Morning, Steve.
Morning.
Morning. Morning. Yeah, you got a little cough there, Steve.
Yeah, building up to it. Building up to
it. I hear you're on holiday with your ex-wife. How's that going?
Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah? Any chance of a reconciliation?
No, get along. I'm not worried about that.
No. Any chance of maybe one night of passion?
No, go somewhere else for that.
Yeah, why not? What have you got for us, Steve?
If all these religious people are so fussed up about their meat and
He said fussed up, yeah, go on.
Yeah. freedom of speech, I'll say anything I like. You can buy me for 2 months if you like.
Well, I'll buy you forever. We've had this argument before, there is no freedom of speech, particularly not on the radio.
Oh, anyway, right. Why don't these people have their own butchers and go, if they're that fussy about their meat and the way it's killed, why don't they open up more butchers for their own religion so they all go to this?
They do. There's plenty of halal butchers.
Yeah, there is, but I mean, why do people moan because we go to, whatever was in a paper today and people moan because it's not sort of put on there how it was killed and all that. It's a bit of meat, it's dead. I don't really particularly care how it's killed.
Do you mind, Steve, if you're having a nice juicy steak, you've gone for medium rare, you're a man, right? Do you care if that cow has had a bolt through its head or been hung upside down, facing really, Mecca and having its throat slit?
No, I'm not interested. I mean, it's just all this religious palaver, isn't it? I mean, at the end of the day, religion's out of date anyway. They're all mad.
I think this is bizarre. I think this is the second time you've called in, Steve, and I've agreed with you.
No, I know, it's worrying, isn't it?
I'm worried. Who's on the turn? Are you on the turn or am I on the turn?
No, you are, because my views are a lot better than yours.
Stephen. Thank you, Steve. Go and enjoy your holiday with your ex. It must be going really well for you to phone a radio station you can't even pick up. Mustn't it just? Ken in Redbourne says the definition of halal and kosher meat is that the animal... By the way, I want someone from the Islamic faith or the Jewish faith to phone up and tell me why it's so important that the meat is killed that way. Why it's so important. I don't get it. I don't get the importance of the meat having to face a certain direction and having a certain prayer said while its throat slit.
Other than that's the way it's always been done.
It's the way it's always been done, but it was done that way because they didn't have fridges back in the olden days. We got fridges now, guys. Hey, Muslims and Jews, we've got fridges, so, you can stop doing that if you want. Someone, and I'm making I'm hoping someone will phone up and tell me and explain to me why it's so important that because of the God they pray to, because of the faith they have, because of the way they've been brought up, it's so important that the meat is killed facing a certain direction and listening to a certain prayer and having its throat slit. Why is that so important? Forget the nonsense about, it's the only way to drain the blood. And when all the blood is out, it's a health thing. No. That's not it. 08459 455 555. Ken in Redbourne says the definition of halal and kosher meat is that the animal is not pre-stunned. There is no difference in industrial level production. So if Subway halal meat... I think that he means to say is pre-stunned, it is not halal. If, however, it is genuine halal, then it is unacceptable to cruelly slaughter because of religious fairy tales. Debbie says, Iain, you've been talking about cruelty to animals this morning and the guy that got put away for 3 months, but think it's okay to hide the fact we are given slaughtered animals that have had their throat slit without being stunned. I, for one, do not want to eat it and would be happy if this practice was stopped. No, Debbie, no. This is the key thing in this story. These animals are stunned. So you can't have an argument against halal if it's stunned, because the animal won't know how it's being killed. Gary in Luton, if this halal meat story was the other way round and Muslims were being sold non-halal meat, there would be uproar, and even you with your BBC PC head on would be banging on about how terrible that would be. You wouldn't dare say on air, so what, I'm not bothered. It's because non-Muslims are quite easygoing on most things that you can say, so what now? In future, when there's a Muslim issue in the news, I'll be listening to your presenting style to compare it. Gary, please do. If there was a similar story the other way round, I would be saying, so what, I'm not bothered. If Muslims found out they were eating meat that wasn't halal, I'd be saying, so what, I'm not bothered, because I don't understand the importance. So, Gary, once again, fair play, you've had a pop, but you're completely wrong, mate. Why don't you phone up next time and try and do the voice to voice? No one has been able to explain to me why it's so important that the meat is killed in this way. So yes, if some Muslims found out they were eating meat that wasn't halal, and they were in uproar, part of me would be going, yes, so what? I don't get what's so important about it. We've got 15 minutes. I'm really hoping someone can phone up and explain the significance of the way the meat is killed or not. 08459 455 555.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
We've had an update in from Joe around London Coney. Between the A1M Junction 3 and the London Coney roundabout, the A414, as you head away from the A1M, has one lane closed following an incident. Long queues on the approach there. Also on the speed sensors in Ware on the Westmill Road, very heavy in both directions between the A10 and Chatmore End. In Bedford, the A6 southbound is partially blocked between Britannia Road and the West End after an accident. We've got the Women's Tour of Britain cycling race starting at 11 in Bedford. The embankment is closed from the junction of the High Street to Bushmead Avenue. Public transport has no reported problems. I'm Alice Glossop, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Alice. 8:46, Thursday the 8th of May. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. A Luton man stabbed by a 16-year-old burglar says he thought he was going to die. The teenager, who can't be named for legal reasons, has been cleared of attempted murder but convicted of wounding with intent. A blind woman who's been the victim of abuse in Stevenage has used a body camera to identify the teenagers responsible. And in sport, cycling's Women's Tour of Britain heads for Bedford today. The second stage starts in Hinckley and is expected in Bedford at around 2 p.m. We'll speak to Justin in a bit on the subject of halal. I'm still waiting. We've got 15 minutes. Can someone please call in and tell me why it's so important that your meat, your steak, your burgers, your sausages are killed in the way that they're killed? You know that in the 21st century, apart from tradition, there is no reason it should be done like that. Let's get the weather with Wendy.
Beds, Hearts and Bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Hello there. We've got a great swathe of rain working its way into the Three Counties at the moment. It's been a cloudy morning so far. We've had bits and pieces of this rain. It's going to turn more persistent and quite heavy as we get towards lunchtime today. Could cause some spray on the roads, a bit of tricky driving weather through this afternoon. And then it's sort of on and off through the rest of today, eventually easing off towards the evening because it's clearing towards the east. And we might just see a break in the cloud for the odd bright spell before the day is out. The breeze has been picking up through the morning. It's a southwesterly. It's going to be quite strong, especially during the rain, and temperatures will get to about 14 degrees in Luton, so it's going to feel quite muggy out, I think. Now, as we go through the night, as I say, the rain will have cleared. There will be some clear sky, the odd shower cropping up in the early hours, and temperatures will be at around 10 degrees Celsius. So tomorrow we've got much more chance of seeing some sunshine, but there is always the risk of a shower as well, blowing through fairly quickly because there will be a breeze behind them, and temperatures again will be at around 14 or 15 degrees Celsius. Saturday, wet and windy, not looking like the best day at all. And then it's a return to sunshine and showers for Sunday. That's how it's looking for now.
Every weekday morning.
The shop didn't want to give me them back, so I went to the shop, paid them a fee to get my cylinders back.
The JVS show fights for your rights and tackles your consumer problems.
I went to speak to this company and I asked them what had happened. It took me absolutely ages to get through to anyone.
If you need our help, email jvsshow@bbc.co.uk.
After our last discussion about my cylinders, the governing body showed up at my house on the following day.
And we could do the same for you.
Thanks, Denise, and for the company for getting her cooker back up and running. Here's your horn.
The JVS show, weekday mornings from 9 on BBC Three Counties Radio.
Carpet Martin has emailed me. Iain, it turns out I might have been eating halal meat without realising it. All the time it tasted just like non-halal meat, but it meant that some people who aren't happy eating non-halal meat could eat it with me. I don't understand why I'm angry, but apparently I should be angry, so I'm angry. P.S. I'm not really angry. Makes a good point. He makes a good point, doesn't he? He's good, Carpet Martin. Most of his tweets I can't retweet as they're too vulgar.
Why is he called Carpet Martin?
Why are you called Kelly Betts?
That's my name.
I had my boy in bed with my wife the other day, and he's going...
With Carpet Martin?
No, he's going, why am I called...
Different story.
Why am I called Alexander? What's your name? Why is an umbrella called an umbrella? Well, why is a chair called a chair? Why is a curtain called a curtain?
You know what I see those questions as?
Yeah.
An opportunity to mess with their heads.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
make stuff up. That's what your role
make
is.
stuff up. Justin's on the line. Justin!
Morning, boss.
What have you been up to?
The why game. I do like the why game. But no, this morning you have been talking about halal meat, and you were asking the question, what about 20 minutes ago? Why are people so passionate about halal meat? Why has it got to be halal meat for them? Why is that so important? Well, I've been out and about in Luton this morning.
Yep.
I found somebody a few moments ago. We had a conversation about this particular subject, and here's what happened. You're somebody who eats halal meat, sir. Can I ask you why you eat it, why you're passionate about halal meat?
Well, I'm a Muslim, and the way the actual meat is slaughtered is done the Islamic way, the way it tells us to follow that. So it's very important for us that the way the actual animal is killed.
Why is it so important to you?
Well, it's always it's the way it tells us in the Quran. It tells us exactly how, when our Prophet, and when back in days when the meat was killed, we try and follow it in that way, because the blood isn't drained out, so it's a lot more healthier meat to eat as well.
I mean, you say back in the day, it's now the year 2014. A lot of people say the way that animal is killed is cruel. Do you think it's cruel?
Not at all, not at all.
You seriously don't?
No, not at all, no. Because the thing is, if you don't eat halal meat, do you?
I don't know.
No, but how is that meat slaughtered?
In a more humane way.
Which is?
According to experts. It doesn't have its throat slit.
I know. But
how would you prefer to be killed? A bolt to your head, or to have your throat slit?
Yeah, I understand.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand the point you're making. But the animal's there, and if you're a vegetarian, then I totally understand. But if you're still going to eat that meat, and you're still going to slaughter that animal in any way, shape or form, it's not going to make much difference, is it?
I mean, if you went back to your family and you said, although my religious beliefs are still there, I think it's cruel the way this animal is killed, I'm not going to eat halal meat anymore, what do you think your family would say to you?
They probably won't be happy about it.
They'd be angry, would they?
Yeah.
What, maybe not talk to you for a few days, or not talk to you again?
Probably not, no. I get your point, yeah.
So you're honestly saying to me that some of your family would never talk to you again if you said, I'm not going to eat halal meat?
It just wouldn't even come. That conversation wouldn't even come. That just wouldn't happen. It wouldn't happen at all.
And if I said to you, I'm going to be cooking this evening and the meat is not going to be halal, would you refuse to come?
I wouldn't be coming around for dinner. Not at all. It wouldn't happen. It has to be halal. Absolutely has to be halal meat.
Okay. Very interesting. Thanks for your time, sir.
Cheers.
There you go, Ian.
He couldn't. I wish you'd asked it again. He couldn't answer the question. Why is it important to you to eat halal meat? He stumbled around it. He fumbled around it. The best he came up with was the Prophet Muhammad did it, and it's in the Quran. But why is it important to you to eat halal meat? Why could you not eat any other meat?
Well, I think he feels the pressure as well. Yes, it's to do with his religious beliefs, obviously, but you could tell there. I mean, some of his family would never talk to him again. Now, if you've got that sort of pressure, who wants to go back and put pressure on your family? I mean, I found that conversation very, very interesting. He doesn't think it's cruel. He will be continuing to eat halal meat.
08459 455 555. Justin, thank you for that. JV, you can call us now, and if you don't get onto our show, you'll get onto JVS's, because he's carrying on talking about this. I think that the people who are furious that they have been eating halal meat without knowing about it are just as bad as those people who refuse to eat any other meat that isn't halal or kosher. They're both getting upset about something, and I think they're both as bad as each other. Graham's in Welham. Morning, Graham.
Morning.
Graham, what would you like to say?
Well, I mean, as I understand the differences, if you kill an animal when it's alive, the heart is beating.
Yes.
When you turn it upside down, the heart's still functioning and it pumps all the blood out the body. Basically, it's having the blood in the meat. If the body is alive, the heart itself is a pump, so when you slit the throat, it effectively empties the body of meat by pumping it out.
Of blood,
If you stun the animal and then slit the throat, the heart is still functioning, but not functioning as well, because obviously you've stunned it and slowed everything down. So it doesn't clear the blood away as well. if you put a bolt through the head, you effectively kill the animal, so you stop the heart. So the blood doesn't come out very well at all. It just drains out because of gravity rather than actually being pumped out of the body. That, as I understand, is the reason. I think it's something to do with the fact that in going back in history, obviously, if you're going to keep meat, if you get the blood out of it better, it keeps better. So it's just a basic way, the fact that the meat will keep better if it's got no blood.
Well, we've got fridges now. We've got freezers. We've got Findus.
Well, yeah, but a lot of these traditions go back through when we didn't have all this stuff. Like there's a religious belief that if you get licked by a dog, you wash your hands 7 times. The reason is because of rabies. There's always a reason for these things, and then it gets enshrined. And people in olden days didn't understand, so the people that did enshrine these rules to make them so you had to do it. That way it kept them safe, if you understand. And I think this is where all this comes from, and it then gets written in folklore, and then people take it as gospel, and they don't understand why they're doing it.
Graham, thank you very much indeed. Albert's in St Albans. Morning, Albert.
Morning, Ian. How are you?
I'm good, thank you, Albert. I'm a little bit nervous, but I'm good. Yes, what would you like to say?
Well, I think, Ian, you've missed the point a little bit. It's not how the animals die, it's how they live. They should frolic. They should be happy. When we put our animals down, we show them little films and stuff first to make sure they're nice and relaxed.
Yes. What kind of films do you show them?
Sorry, say that again.
What kind of films are they watching?
Well, they quite like Disney. We started off with things like Saw, but they weren't a fan of that.
No, that would be
we show them sort of cartoons and things like that. And when they're nice and relaxed, we give them a nice meal, and then the chainsaw comes out.
Right, OK. Well, that must make them feel so much better.
They die with a smile on their face, Ian. You can't ask for more than that.
You cannot. You literally cannot. I'm not quite sure how... Let's pass his number to the JVS team. JVS might want to have a little chat with him later on as well. Albert in St Albans. If you missed getting on talking to us about this morning, then you can certainly still keep calling, and you'll end up possibly speaking to Jonathan Vernon-Smith about the whole subject. I'm struggling as someone who is newly back in the world of meat eating, and boy oh boy, those sausages, huh? Yeah. Good. Those burgers. Oh, man. And I'm going to say it. I'm going to say a swear word. You ready? McDonald's. Oh, yeah, baby! Oh, it squeaks when you eat. They're squeaky burgers, aren't they? They squeak.
Do you know my favourite bit of a McDonald's burger?
Oh.
The gherkin.
Yes. No, I've learnt the phrase... Hold the pickle.
No.
Hold the pickle.
Next time you're going, take me, because I am the depository for all the gherkins in the family.
You want to have my
like
pickle?
a seal and they throw them in.
Yeah? You want to have my pickle when it's
What's the opposite of holding the pickle?
Double the picks.
Dub picks.
Dub picks.
Okay, dub picks.
I went to a drive-in the other day, but the drive-in wasn't working, so there was a fella there. There was a fella just stood in the car park taking orders. It was brilliant.
Okay, that's old world food. That's what they should do more of.
It's great. It's so cool, man. You can just go up there.
Have you ever gone through a drive-through in a taxi?
No, mate.
They love it.
Really?
Yeah, it's their favourite.
Go on. What are you thinking?
Can we do it next week?
No, because you and I are on a diet.
Let's take the radio car.
Justin, could you stop off at Mackie D? They don't do proper food in the morning. They
Anyway,
just do
all the
breakfast.
food services are available.
Yeah, I know, but that's one of the best.
They don't all squeak.
Now they've got rid of that Hamburglar. Now they finally sentenced him, I think, to several life in prison. He may have even got the electric chair. I'm not sure, because he's American, hasn't he, Hamburglar? So I think he's been
I
executed.
don't think you can get it for burglary.
Can you not? Well, OK. Right, that's it. That's your lot from us. JVS is up next.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Had an update in from Jeremy on the A1M northbound. Between junction 1 for the M25 and 2 for Welham Green, there are queues and things much heavier than normal at the moment. Also between the A1M junction 3 and the London Coney roundabout on the A414 heading away from the A1M, one lane is closed after an incident. Long queues on the approach there, and thanks to Joe for phoning in with an update. In Bedford, the A6 southbound is partially blocked between the Britannia Road and West End following an accident. Also, the Women's Tour of Britain cycle race kicks off at 11 in Bedford. The embankment is closed from the junction of the High Street to Bushmead Avenue. Public transport has no reported problems. I'm Alice Glossop, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you very much, Alice. Excellent stuff. Speak to you tomorrow. The discussion about halal meat continues. Keep dialing the same number and you could speak to Jonathan about it. I'll be back tomorrow at 6. Oh, it's Friday tomorrow, thank goodness. Ta-ta.
Local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Iain. Good morning. Welcome to the JVS show. I'm Jonathan Vernon-Smith. It's Thursday. It's 9 o'clock. And on today's big phone-in, does it bother you that you may be eating halal meat? Tesco